And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another week, another edition of ESL Open Cup Asia number 204. I'm, of course, your host, Live VIP, and with me, I'm joined for now by the lovely people in the chat and by plushies. But I will be joined by a lovely foul co-caster. That doesn't sound right, but I'll be joined by a chicken later on in the evening. For now, we have our first matchup. For those that are curious, this is, of course, our weekly dose of Korean StarCraft every single week. ESL Open Cup Asia. I mean, we have one for every region, and this is the Asia variant. And here we go in the bottom left-hand corner of our Gyeone. We have one of the best Protosses in all of South Korea, representing Team Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And this morning, in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player representing himself. It is DRG. The one true Dong himself. Let's go. We have our ZVP ready for us. I apologize for the delays to the tournament. Did start a little bit later than normal, but regardless, we are kicking things off. And again, some amazing players are here before us. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves. Ooh, oh, actually, my apologies as I quickly do fix that up. Apparently, the commands were not quite set, so I will get on top of that as quickly as I can. Did overlook that, but yeah, we're getting into so far a hatch gas pool, standard open out of DRG, force take the unnatural natural. Likewise, Classic going for a gate expand into the cyber core as well. Standard openers so far, nothing too crazy, nothing too cheesy to kick things off as I quickly set up the commands in the chat. I know. Be a couple of moments. Brackets. Beautiful. And of course, we can go over the brackets once we do wrap up the series. Once we have a little bit of time to ourselves to kind of go over things and yeah, to kind of absorb the rest of the tournament. For now, though, we're getting into this, and we're just going to be made over towards the natural. Likewise, Classic back at home. We have our tech of choice. Based on the positioning of the pylon, it is going to be a Stargate. Stargate opener here out of Classic. Going to be going, I imagine, Oracle first. As I say that, though, Classic has been very fond of Void Ray openers. Void Ray openers have been kind of the bread and butter from Classic over the past 2 weeks, maybe a week and a half. Like almost every PVZ has incorporated Void Rays, and Classic, as we know, loves to incorporate a fast Tempest or even a fast carrier. Especially on this map, rushing into a fleet beacon is something that Classic is very fond of, and I'm sure he's going to do it at some point in this series. Whether he does it game 1, game 2, or game 3, yet to be determined. As for now, we are going for an Oracle first, not a Void Ray. Bear that in mind. Oracle is going to be zooming across the map. Ooh. Meanwhile, back here at the natural, we're just going to be getting back into our saturation here. Overlord not quite going in yet, just trying to get a read on what is happening, trying to get a read on any additional units that are on the way. Adept has arrived, does take down a Tumor. Not a bad pickoff. Tumor does go down. And DRG is still just trying to defend his bases. Hasn't lost anything yet, but things are soon to heat up here. Not just one Oracle, we're going for a second Oracle, we're going for a third base behind this. So Classic going for a standard opener here. Stargate into a third, into his follow-up tech. If he continues to play standard, this should be into a Twilight Council and a Forge to get into Blink Stalkers. But we'll see. We'll see what he does go for. Was the Lynx have arrived and they are looking for the surround. Oh, they don't quite get it. Dep does barely slip on by. DRG gonna try and shut it down, gonna try and race it back home. Looks like he will catch the Adept in the end. So not a bad pickoff. Very well done. Picking up the Adept, gonna be threatening the third base, forcing the Oracle to stay at home. First Oracle's across the map, but wasn't quite able to get much done. One worker kill before being zoned away, and actually taking quite a lot of hull damage. There's that transition. It is indeed the Twilight Council and the Forge. So as we mentioned before, pretty standard transition out of this. To get into +1, and I imagine Blink. Meanwhile, the Oracles, they have joined forces. 2 Oracles can one-shot workers. We have a third Oracle on the way, but the Queens are in position, and DRG just doesn't let Classic in. I'm trying to say just does not let Classic in. I just woke up, okay? I did. And there we go. Additional Oracles are going to be moving out. So meanwhile, back at home, DRG getting into his lair. This should be leading into a Roach Warren. The longer this goes on without a Roach Warren, it's looking more and more like Ling Hydra instead of Roach. We'll see. As we are nearing that halfway mark, we have the Oracles dipping in towards that third base as well. So far, no dice. So far, the Oracles, we still looking for damage, going for the stage trap into the main. Meanwhile, there is still no Roach Warren. It's looking like Ling Hydra. The other option, of course, is Mutas, if we do take all of our gases. And there it is. Gases are on the way. And no, it is going to be that Roach Warren. A bit of a later Roach Warren. The reason why I say that, usually, yeah, this is a bit of a misstep here from DRG. Oh, God! Stasis trap! Another goes off, catching the Queen. Denying a lot of mining time as we get another stasis trap as well. They just keep layering on top of each other. And another here towards the natural stats. Is that you? Catching 3 drones at the natural base. Not a bad pickoff here. Just being distracted. And again, DRG. No, another one. They just don't stop. Oh my god. And DRG, his Roach Warren was delayed. Ideally, you want the Roach Warren to finish up at the same time as the lair so you can start Roach speed. That's why I did point out that it was kind of weird to have it now. But clearly, like, he was just... his attention was being pulled apart by all the harassment, by all the Oracles, and it did kind of slip his mind for a moment. As a result, this Stalker timing is gonna be a little bit harder to defend. The Roach's Roach speed as well has been delayed. We have +1 range on the way, so it looks like we are going for a Roach heavy composition. Classic getting his 4th base. I'm running behind this. We are pushing on forward, clearing up quite a bit of creep here. 2 tumors go down. Oh, Blink isn't done. But we have the Oracles. We have the Oracles to support. Classic, he's perfectly fine. He backs the hell off. Saves all of his Stalkers, saves his Oracles, gets the hell out of there. And now Blink and +1 are done. +2 is on the way. We should be working towards charge behind this, I imagine, if we want to double down on a gateway heavy composition. But no, we're kind of pivoting away from this. We're going double Robo into Robotic Spade. This is double Robo Colossus production coming in from Classic. Still working on +2 and charge, don't get me wrong, but Colossi are on the way. Meanwhile, on the front lines, Stalkers have reinforced, this time with Blink. Looking to try to find some damage here, trying to find a way in towards that third. DRG is now getting his 4th up as well. Slightly ahead in workers, 77 to the 70 of his opponents. But Classic is in a pretty good economic position overall. Now, something that I did notice is the Hydrogen, and we see why. A Hydrogen into Infestation Pit, into the Hive. We're getting to Lungers. DRG, he's going for a longer game here. Looks like he has recognized that if he did want to try to hit a timing with Roaches, like, it wouldn't really, or he kind of missed that earlier. On top of that, Alcyone is a more macro-oriented map. It's very easy to defend on 4 bases, and even 5 bases on this map. So DRG, he's aware of that. He's not going for a big 3-base all-in. Instead, he's just taking up, going towards the late game. So as DRG works towards Lurkers, Classic is working towards Colossi. I have to favor DRG a little bit here, just because, I mean, he should be able to get into Lurkers first. A lot of this will come down to how many Lurkers he has by the time Classic pushes out. How many Vipers does he have as well? Like, he has the tech to get into everything, but he still needs the economy. When it comes to Classic's push, I imagine we're going to be moving out with 4 Colossi. We're about to have 2, and then we're going to have a 3rd and 4th behind that. Working towards charge at the same time. It's going to take a while for Classic to really move out, and by the time he does, yeah, we already have 6 Lurkers on the way. I do appreciate that DRG is getting into this now. There are some Zerg players that actually don't invest into Lurkers until they... as we're getting ready for run by, but they don't invest into Lurkers until they get the Hive upgrades. So I'm glad that we're getting into them preemptively, just to be safe, just to be secure. It's a very passive style here out of DRG. He's kind of allowing Classic to get away with saturating his 4th and getting a 5th. Like, Classic, he has been free to do anything he wants. But that's soon hopefully about to change, as DRG, he's waiting for the army to move out, and at the same time ready for a counterattack. He's got a Ling Roach Rumba on the left hand side, a Ling Roach Rumba on the right. The army of Classic looking to push through the middle here, but the Lurkers are ready for this. And again, here we go. The Stalkers have revealed themselves on creep, and now it's go time. Lings, they rush in towards that natural base. At the same time, the Ling Roach here towards the 4th. So far, Classic, he does turn back around. These counterattacks here from DRG not really finding much damage. He trades with the army, but Classic, he was close enough. He had reinforcements. He shuts this down. Forces back both prongs. A solid defense here from Classic. But at the same time, DRG has bought enough time to get into all these Lurkers. Now, I love the wherewithal here of Classic because he knows that, hey, if he wanted to try to kill his opponent with a ground toss army, he missed it. Second Stargate, Fleet Beacon is on the way. Immediately, Classic, he's working towards Sky Toss. He knows that he probably cannot end the game with this army, so he's already working on that next step. He's not being stubborn like other Protoss players have done in the past, where they want to commit and double down on ground toss and try to force the issue. No. Classic, he's aware of his limitations, and he's respecting DRG. Meanwhile, this Ling Roach run by does break through. The Cyber Core goes down. That will delay +1 air attack. Second Stargate's on the way. We are cleaning up the Lings and the Roaches, but we have more Lings coming in. Classic, he does have to warp in defensively back at home. The Lurkers have been revealed. Oh my god, so many spines. The Concave. How many Lunkers is that? 19! 19 Lunkers. Ay. At the same time, the Lings, they do break into the natural base. I apologize. Looks like every single worker went down. 16 probe kills. There was no, or there is no WCS game hearts, so we have to count. So the entire mineral line did go down. DRG getting a lot of damage done across the map. Meanwhile, Classic rotating around, overextending a little bit here with one of his Colossus. Oh my god. Taking a lot of damage. At the same time, though, Classic pushing on forward here towards that third base. Does outposition those Lurkers for a moment, but he's still taking a lot of spines to the face. And he's losing too much, and here comes a surround. Oh my god. We're looking for it. We're looking for that surround. Lurkers from almost every angle. Ay, the flank even. As Classic is forced back at the same time, trying to expand here towards the south. This base is going to go down, but I mean, Classic isn't really too concerned with that. He's more concerned with establishing this gold. The extra Nexus will fall. And Classic, he's down at 20 workers. He couldn't break the front line here. He's now getting into Skytoss, but the problem is that Classic, he lost a lot getting here to Skytoss. He lost his mineral line. He lost Colossus as well. He lost Immortals, lost a lot of his army. And now he's on the back foot. We do have the main army being distracted. At the same time, GRG is collapsing on the gold. The Lunkers, they're in position. There's no pushing into this. There's no way. Classic, he's zoned away from his gold base, and it's going to go down. At the same time, GRG pulling back on the left-hand side is going to be losing a couple of Lurkers here in the retreats, but he breaks the gold base. Again, and crippling the economy here of Classic. Containing him to 4 bases, and we can keep pushing. And we're going for a base trade. In a way, we're going for a base trade as DRG is going right for this Nexus. Classic, he's going to keep on pushing. And we have no Spire. Oh, no, sorry, we do. Corruptors are on the way. Boys are being pulled. They're evacuating, I should say. As we do have a Zealot run by on the right-hand side. Going to be taking down 2 hatcheries here of DRG. Likewise, DRG going to be pushing on forward towards the third. We are in full base trade mode. We need Lurkers defensively, but we don't really have too many. Most of them are across the map. Oh, without Lunkers. Yeah, we do see the army breaking on through. A wave of Lurkers just finished. 4 Lurkers just wrapped up. Trying to hold on to that ramp. Archon's breaking through. We ignore the natural. We go straight for the third instead. Meanwhile, DRG busting into the natural base of his opponents. So both people are going to be contained to 2 bases. As DRG loses his third, and he's about to lose his fourth. But DRG, he's breaking into the main, and he may just win by elimination. Do we have any probes? Oh, no probes. We recall back home. Tempest here towards the national. Do we have detection? We do. We have an observer coming in. Detection is available, and it looks like with detection, looking at the army tab here, it's going to be close, but it looks like Classic should be able to clean this up. It's going to take some time, though. He saves it. No, he doesn't save the natural. Natural goes down. He's down to just the main. And he's recalling everything back home to deal with this. He's breaking into his own main base. We have a handful of Hydras left over, which means these Tempests will kill everything eventually. But before they do, we're camping the production. We're depowering the Stargates. These Lurkers doing a great job at holding on. A bit of a miss rally there from those Hydras. They are going to go down for free. And again, this is going to get cleaned up. But throughout all of this, DRG, he's been amassing an army. He's been building up Corruptors, double expanding. The Lurker count is impressive. How many Lurkers? 14. We'll clean up the army. There's 14 Lurkers back at home. which is enough for the ground army, but what about the Tempest? There's 5 Tempests available here for Classic and a Mothership. We just used the Cloak ability, so that won't be available. We also just used the Recall. How many Corruptors? There's 900 Corruptors, no upgrades on them. With good enough storms, with good enough positioning, there is a world where Classic can maybe pick off or zone away these Corruptors, and then his Tempests can have their way with everything else. But Classic is on a timer. He's on 1 base. He's on 2 mineral patches. Like, Classic has no money. He's supply blocked. He's trying to rush into this gold. He does have a larger army than DRG. Bear that in mind. DRG not quite ready for this. Vipers are gathering up energy. Vipers, they could be the MVPs. We have 3 of them. We need to abduct that mothership. We need the -300, -300. Oh, we get it! We do barely get it in the end. The feedbacks were not good enough. They weren't fast enough. Mothership goes down. How many Tempests are left? 5. 5 Tempests remaining. We still have another abduct. And we're going to get it. We get 1. Oh, the Vipers are taking a lot of hits, though. They do survive. And yeah, we're just forcing the issue, pushing up the ramp. Lurkers, they need a burrow. And we are down to 2 Tempests. The Lurkers are going ham, and it looks like DRG has done it. He cleans up the Tempest, cleans up the ground army. GG gets called, and DRG takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Oh my, that kind of went down to the wire there. Again, DRG was doing a great job when it came to crippling the economy. We saw him taking down base after base, getting the entire mineral line at one point as well. Kind of forcing the all-in out of his opponent. And yeah, able to take advantage of him in the end. Committed to the base trade, and as we saw, Classic just did not have enough to commit to said base trade either. He had to recall back home, clean up the army, but what did he really save? What did he really have left back at home? Just a couple of production buildings that he couldn't make use of because he was supply blocked. And yeah, with that, DRG takes the first game. It was a relatively passive start. Classic was harassing a little bit with Oracles, but for the most part, both players just kind of maxed out on their own accord. But DRG was the first to get into those lunkers. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Hard Lead, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Twisted Minds, the Red Protoss. It is Classic. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have a player that deserves to be on the team, currently teamless, the Blue Zerg player. It is DRG. I'm shaking my head. We've casted even recently DRG. He's been having his way with Beyond. He's been having his way in ZVZs as well. He was the ace player of WTL Summer for Team Abydos. And even here, looking damn good against Classic, at least in game 1. It's still only game 1. Still could go either direction, but I bring this up all the time. You know, Gumiho found Cloud9. Cure found Team Liquid. DRG, still looking for a team. Yeah, I think he's like the only like top tier Korean player left that is looking for a team, and I hope he does find one. I hope he does find one. For now, though, we're getting into game 2, and personally, I would like to see an ace match. I would like to see this go all the way to game number 3, but it's going to be on Classic to bring it back. It's going to be on Classic to turn the tables. So far, a hatch gas pull out of DRG standard opener. Classic, of course, back at home, still going for a gate expand standard opener as well. Really, my eyes are on Classic's tech. You know, where does he go from here? He's typically a very aggressive player. This is also why I was a little bit surprised about last game. Last game on Alkyone, I know that it is a map that is centered around, you know, taking more bases and cutting the map in half and macroing, don't get me wrong. But Classic is known for his aggressive styles, and he played very passively, very straight up last game. You know, it was Stargate opener into Blink Stalkers, into a 4th, into double Robo Colossus production, into Sky Toss. Like, again, we didn't really see a lot of his patented aggression that we're used to seeing. And maybe that's where, I mean, I want to say that's where Classic's strengths lie. And that's not what we saw in that last game. So we'll see if Classic can bring it back here in more Classic fashion in game number 2. So far, show us the Stargate. And there it is, the Stargate is indeed on the way. Stargate is on the way here for Classic. Should be getting into an Oracle, but as I mentioned before, there is a build that Classic has been very fond of when it goes Void Ray first to rush into Skytoss a lot faster. And I expected him to do it at some point in this series. I was expecting Alkyone, to be honest. He has done it on hard lead before, but this is a more difficult map to pull this out on. The reason why I say that, if you're very tech heavy on a map like hard lead, the short rush distance by ground can kill you. We've seen a lot of 3-base all-ins from Zerg. We've seen a lot of Zerg players cut workers at 55 or at 66 and just make nothing, just go for like a queen walk across the map. You make roaches, make queens, you get your creep highway going, you just send everything out and you break your opponent. So it can be really risky to be too greedy on this map. For now though, Adept does shade into the mineral line and does threaten the drones, but does not get a drone kill. Does get forced back. Meanwhile, back at home, that is going to be an Oracle opener, not a Void Ray here out of Classic, so very similar to the previous game. Yeah, there we go. It's going to be Oracle. Second Oracle's on the way. We should be expanding and taking a third base, and this should be leading into a standard transition. Classic. He's been reformed. He's been reformed in a way here, and I'm curious if this is just going to lead into a Forge and a Twilight Council for +1 and Blink, just like last game. Meanwhile, the Adept goes down. Lings, they even get the probe. Not bad pickups whatsoever. Oracles, they go into the natural base, or into the third base, and there is no Spore. But we have Queens, and the Oracle only gets one worker kill. Lings are still across the map. They're trying to force the activation of the Pulsar Beam back at home. We are cutting spores entirely. We have one spore here at the third. Nothing in the main, nothing in the natural. We'll see if Classic can punish this. See if Classic can punish DRG as he tries to cut those corners. Gets a couple of tumors. Is gonna be maybe threatening these mineral lines. Does get into the natural. Gets one drone kill. Oh, gets a second. But takes a lot of damage. Oof. And does barely escape. As Classic escapes, there it is. Forge, Twilight Council is just +1 and Blink. Getting up to 4 gateways. Everything is looking normal. Normal for now. This can still lead into like an 8-gate Blink Stalker all-in as we go for a bit of a stronger gateway explosion. We're getting up to 6 gates. And this is a bit of a difference compared to last game as, we get 4 more workers across the map. Again, the lack of spores is hurting DRG a little bit here. It is more standard at this level for Zerg players to get at least 2 spores, like 1 at the third and 1 in the main, and then you can focus your queens here at the natural. But yeah, DRG cut corners. Now he's getting the spore here at his natural base, but the drones are already dead. The damage has already been done. It's been 7 worker kills, not for a single Oracle, as they have all survived. So really good harassment here at a Classic, especially compared to last game. Remember, last game Classic killed 1 drone, I think, with his Oracles, and then he had to rely on stasis traps to get economic damage otherwise. And now he has joined all the forces. He's going to be going straight for that mineral line once again. Ooh, he will lose 1 Oracle, but he gets 3 more worker kills. Can we maybe snipe the art? It's so close. It escapes. Classic barely gets out of there as well, keeping 2 of them alive. Behind this, +1 and Blink. I mentioned before that we're up to 6 gateways this time, so it looks like Classic is going to be more assertive with his army. If you remember, I believe last game we only went up to 4 gates, and then we went into the second Robo and Colossus production. This time, we're committing to the gateway army. This thing run by is going to be a little bit annoying here for Classic. He does come back, but his Stalkers, they do move out. Well, DRG is going to be skipping his Roach Warren. He's going Ling Hydra. Something that I thought he was going to be doing last game, but did go for the Roach Warren in the end, so a risky maneuver. There it is! Straight into Skytoss. Let's go. Now, this is not typically how Classic rushes into Skytoss, but he's getting there nonetheless. This is such a shame. Like, he's rushing into Skytoss, but his opponent happens to be going Ling Hydra, not Ling Roach. And has this been scouted? It hasn't. The Hydrogen wasn't seen, neither was the Infestation Pit. Because of this, DRG will naturally have anti-air. He will be ready for a low amount of Skytoss. And this is where I'm a little bit concerned for Classic. I say a little bit because we have a Hive and a Lurker Den on the way, which means DRG I don't think is planning on hitting a timing with Ling Hydra. It looks like he's going to be building up on Ling Hydra Lurker. It looks like he's taking up, just like last game, into Hydra Lurker Viper, essentially, into a more longer late game composition. which means I think Classic's going to be safe. Like, sure, there are Ling run-bys, but if there was a Hydra timing coming, and if DRG moved out with Ling Hydra, I think Classic may just die. But I don't think DRG really intends to be that aggressive and that assertive, but we'll see. As for now, DRG is droned up to 80. Ling's going to be threatening this third base. Ling Hydra deflecting these Stalkers. Meanwhile, there it is, carrier production well underway for Classic. And DRG just waiting for his Hive to finish up, working on his upgrades, waiting for that Lurker Den as well to invest into those upgrades as well. There it is, Lurkers are on the way, so DRG just trying to refine his army composition, which means Classic is successfully getting away with the Sky Toss. So usually the way this like kind of progression system works is that Classic gets into like robot production to Colossus and Storm, his opponent gets into Hydra Lurker Viper, and that forces Sky Toss out of the Protoss. Because Classic is already getting into Sky Toss preemptively, I would say that DRG tech-wise is a little bit behind. Hydra Lurker Viper isn't the worst thing against Sky Toss, but Spire is ideal. And Spire is what DRG wants to throw down as soon as he gets a scout. The problem is that he hasn't. Looking at the vision of DRG, he hasn't seen the main, hasn't seen the natural, hasn't seen anything. What I'm pointing out is that there has not been an Overseer scout. Until now. Overseers are on the way, and we need to get a read on what's happening. DRG, this scout is late, but at least it's going to be on the way, as I believe these Overseers are rallied across the map. Yeah, Overlord Speed is in production. Oracle is going to get sniped. But for the time being, we've just been banking up carriers. We have 2 already. We're about to hit 6. We're about to hit critical mass. And again, DRG still is in the dark. Changeling gets sniped. Overseer heading towards the main base. So far, the carrier still kept close to the chest, but with this scout, with the completion of Pneumatized Carapace, finally the Overseer gets in, and we see not much yet. But now we do. Fleet Beacon, 2 Stargates, carrier production. We don't know how many carriers there are, but we're aware. And immediately, Spire. Now again, this is a late Spire because this is a late scout. We already have 6 carriers. So this is the moment where Classic has a bit of a power spike, and there's a lot of pressure on DRG. Good revelation here on those Lurkers, and you can see the carriers having their way with them. 1, 2, 3 Lurkers going to be going down. They don't shoot up, but they have to get the hell out of here. Oh god, an expensive trade for DRG. That was 4 dead Lurkers for free, but at the same time, a big Link counterattack. No shield battery. Oh, there's a shield battery, but we don't take it down. The Nexus is going to fall. A nice pick-off here from DRG, but he lost 7 Lurkers. He's trying to pull together his queens. Spire still isn't done. He has to rely on Hydras, and Classic, he's looking to snowball out of control. There's barely any anti-air. It's not going to be enough. Yeah, the scout of the Sky Toss was just too late. Every queen goes down. Spores are not going to finish, and it looks like this timing from Classic, it just caught DRG with his pants down. The pants, they were down, but he wasn't ready. Caught off guard. A couple more Hydras are trickling on in. And we're getting damage done. Can we get a carrier? Oh, we get 1. Can we get 2? We barely get a second as well. Big pickoffs. But again, this still has been a better trade for Classic. He does rally 1 carrier in. But queens are falling left and right. Up. We desperately need to try to focus another one down, but we cannot. We get the units tab again. We still have 6 carriers. Now, the Spire has completed, and DRG still has a good economy. He hasn't lost workers. Bear that in mind. He lost lurkers. He lost an expensive army, but he hasn't lost his economy. He's going once again for another counterattack. Corruptors should soon be on the way. Hydra's a bit out of position. And we're just pushing on through. So far, the Hydras is trying to stand their ground. But again, there just aren't too many of them. We do try to get on top of the carriers. We can get 1. But it costs so much to kill 1 carrier. That was like, what, 10 Hydras? Ay. We don't even have splash damage. Bear that in mind. We don't even have Storm or Colossus or Disruptors. Like, carriers head-to-head, they can focus down a low amount of Hydras like this. The Hydra count just is not high enough. Vipers are now on the way. We have a Spire, but even if we made Corruptors, there would be 0-0 Corruptors. Again, a lot of this does come down to the delayed scout. The late scout. Now here we go. Classic is going to be rotating around, still maintaining his position. Now, the one thing keeping DRG in this is the lower economy of Classic because he lost his base. Because the Nexus went down earlier, he was stuck on 3 bases, and even now he isn't fully saturated. But in saying that, Classic is maxed. Classic is still maxed out, and DRG is still working on it. Trying to build up his forces. Committed to Hydra Lurker Viper. A big reason for this is because of the lack of upgrades. We're working on +1 air attack. Sorry, +1 air defense. Flyer carapace, even. I think that's the correct term. But again, DRG knows that like vanilla 0-0 corruptors are not going to cut it. He just has to try to survive long enough to get into these upgrades. This Classic is pushing out. Spores getting in position. We have a pretty good defensive line here, but we rotate around and there are no spores. Again, DRG just not quite ready for this rotation. Big feedbacks. We get 1 yoink, but a massive storm. And this time we have splash damage. This time we have High Templar. Oh, they do fly too close to the sun. The Lurkers, they take down 3 of them. Another yoink. Not too bad. But we kill the base. Hatchery falls. 6 drones go down. We're looking for another reduction. Oh, but the feedbacks are too good. Classic, he did end up losing 2 of his carriers, so not the best trades. It was 2 carriers for 1 Viper, but he did kill the hatchery. It's hindering the economy here of DRG. DRG has a bank, that is true, but corruptors are quite expensive. This is basically his bank right now is a remax with corruptors. If he can get there. Meanwhile, Classic, I'm sure, wanting to build up his ground army a little bit more. We do have a second rowboat on the way. Likewise, second spy for double upgrades. +1 air attack on the way here for DRG. Flyer attack. We do deny another hatchery. DRG stuck here on these 5 bases, or 4 bases, really. Meanwhile, Classic is getting a 5th. He's getting ahead economically. He's ahead in workers. Working on shield weapons, air attack, air defense. How many carriers? 11! 11 carriers! Ay. Now, once again, this position is looking very vulnerable. We have a line of spores here. 1 spore here. There's only 1 spore covering this 5th base. And Classic should be able to rock up and knock this down again. DRG just a little bit late with the side defense just to buy time, not saying it would kill these carriers. Yeah, spores are falling, focusing down the lurkers as well. Big abductions though. We get 1, we get 2, we get 3, just barely, but the storms are insane. Oh my god, and the ground army of DRG is crumbling before the storms. And it looks like Classic has broken through. What is there left for our Zerg player? Corruptors and a handful of lurkers. And there just aren't enough corruptors. They only have 1 upgrade on them. And it looks like Classic is looking to tie this up and go to the ace match, as there's nothing to stop him. Even if his High Templar went down, GG gets called, and Classic takes game number 2, tying it up 1-1. GG, well played. Oh my god. We have a series, and again, that is all I ever want. We want a series, want this to go all the way to the ace match, and that's exactly where we're headed. As we were bringing up at the time, so getting ready here for our next lobby. As we were bringing up at the time, a lot of this did come down to the fact that DRG, he just wasn't able to recognize what was happening until it was too late. It just took a little bit too long to get the scout off. Just making sure I didn't get left behind. But yeah, it just took far too long for DRG to actually get confirmation. Remember, DRG already had a hive, he already had lurkers, he already had a 4th base before he went for the Overseer scout into the main. By the time he did, there were already 6 carriers on the field. It was just a very late scout from DRG, a very late reaction to it as well, so he had to immediately start working on his Spire and working on his upgrades, and he was just caught off guard by the Sky Toss. And now we're getting into the ace match. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds, tying up the series 1-1. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Zerg player being forced into the ace match here, fighting for his life, trying to bring down his opponent. Can he pull it off? It is DRG. Dongreku. And we're loading into Oceanborn. This is going to be an interesting one. Oceanborn does have a short rush distance by ground, similar to Hardlead, where I would have expected a more aggressive style, but we've seen something that has kind of permeated throughout this entire series from DRG. And from Classic as well. We'll get to Classic. From DRG, both games so far, he's been harassing, yes, with like Ling counterattacks and Roach counterattacks, but he hasn't been going for any of these committed pushes. He has been hyper-fixated on taking up into Hive and into Hydra Lurker Viper, both in Game 1 and in Game 2. This is the case. And very quickly, Classic was able to recognize that and abuse that, just by taking up and rushing into Skytoss. Like, again, really good adaptation out of Classic. And this is where I have to keep my eye on DRG and being like, okay, can we adapt to our opponents? Can we be more active and prevalent when it comes to our scouting? And can we adapt to what Classic is bringing to the table? Likewise, Classic has been having a really interesting playstyle as well. It looks like he has been respecting his opponent quite a bit, and we haven't seen, you know, these dedicated stalker pushes, these 3-base all-ins, or yeah, even these Glaive Adept timings that Classic has kind of had a lot of success with in the past. Classic, he's been going for Stargate openers into a 3rd base, into a 4th. Like, he's been, yeah, very macro-oriented this series as well. It's been really interesting to see both players kind of vie for the mid to late game in both games so far. It's interesting. You don't see that too often. Maybe I'm just like a little bit spoiled by Dark, because we cast Dark a lot on this channel, and Dark, he's like the polar opposite. He's just always in your face, you know, proxy hatching, going for these roach timings, full first openers. Like, Dark, he's an animal. He's so maybe I'm just used to hyper aggression here in this matchup, but yeah, it's been pretty passive so far. Like, things, don't get me wrong, things have been popping up as the game progresses, but the early to mid game, yeah, has been a little more focused around harassing, less so committed attacks. Here we go. For now, Classic just going to be threading the shade towards that natural, getting a read on the saturation of this base of DRG. Likewise, Stargate opener once again, going into an Oracle first. Yeah, the Adept even commits to the shade, going into the main. The Queen not quite in position. We do manage to get a couple of Ling kills, a couple of drones as well. Oh, don't quite get them though. Good control there out of DRG, pulling back those weakened workers and morphing into spores. Only lost 1 Ling. Pretty good trade here from DRG. Very nicely done. Meanwhile, he's just getting into his 3-base setup. Likewise, we do have Classic sending out his first Oracle as well. As he moves out with the Oracle, he's taking his 3rd. Again, the same opener every game so far from Classic. Just Stargate Oracle into a 3rd. Nexus has been thrown down. We don't have WCS Game Heart, so I'm going to try to be a little bit more attentive to these Oracles, just to make sure we are aware when drones die. As we have DRG with 2 Queens in the main, soon to be 3. We have 3 Queens here at the 3rd. The Natural's exposed, but there's nothing quite to kill there. And we'll see if Classic can make some magic happen. Remember, last game, how many workers did he kill? 7? I think he went up to 12 towards the end with his Oracle Harass. He did a lot of damage with them. I'm sure that also led into a success in game number 2. Here we go, the Oracles, they dive into that 3rd base, and the Queens are out of position! No, the Queens not quite where they need to be. We go ham, and that is going to be 5, 6, 7 drone kills. Oh my god. 8 worker kills, and the Oracles barely escape as well, with a slither of HP. And they get joined by a 3rd. Adepts have arrived at the same time. A big Ling counterattack. Adepts, it's their turn to be out of position. Hilo goes down, we deny the warp in, and we're looking to cancel that 3rd base. The Oracles, they're racing back home. Ay. Classic, he's done a lot of economic damage, but can he save this Nexus? He should be able to. The Oracles, they get here just in time. This base is going to be taking some whole damage, but we should save it. do barely save that base. Meanwhile, Adepts did commit to the shade. Looking at the Lost tab, 13 drones went down for 4 Adepts, and we tried to punish the 3rd base, but DRG wasn't able to get the kill. We have more Lings on the way. DRG, he wants to go for it. I don't think he can. I think he can if the Oracles move out, but because the Oracles are staying at home, yeah, there's no shot. A little bit too ambitious here by DRG. Backs off. Behind this, Twilight Council, Forges on the way, +1 and Blink. Once again, we have a slight gateway explosion. It's going to be, I believe, 6 gates in total. We have 2, 4, 6, 7 gates in total. A little bit more aggressive, actually, from Classic. Going up an additional gateway, and we're setting up a proxy. Let's go. This is a Classic that I know and love, not this kind of late game god that goes into Skytos that we've been seeing. That is an 8th gateway. We are not taking gases at the 3rd. We're cutting workers. This is a 3-base all-in. Blink Stalkers are all we need. 8 gateways in total. DRG, oh, he's checking. And he does come across the gateway. Big scout here for DRG. 2nd pylon gets thrown down. Classic, he's committed. There's no turning back. This is a timing that's going to hit with Blink and +1. It's nothing but Blink Stalkers, and this can very quickly snowball out of control. Warping in a massive wave of Stalkers across the map. DRG, he did scout the gateway. He didn't shut it down, but he's aware. He's focusing on his Roach production. He's supply blocked. 6 Overlords. 6 Overlords all the way. Now is not the time. Ay. Hatchery is going to be focused down. It's going to be a cancel, thankfully, not a kill. Classic, though, is going to keep on pushing. Does pick off a Roach. Shaves off some of those Lings. Pushing up this ramp is going to be a difficult feat here. Classic is getting back into pro production. He's trying to expand. He is transitioning out of this. But the Stalkers, they're going to keep on moving forward. Against this line of Ravagers, though, I don't think they can really break through. We are shaving off a lot of Lings, though. And again, we're containing DRG to 3 bases. The 4th just now on the way. Severely impacting the economy and the production of the Zerg. Well, see, he dives on the army. He smells weakness. He dives on some of the Roaches, the Ravagers, and the Lings as well. Is going to be bleeding out a couple of Stalkers. Uh-oh. But he resets, almost resets the Ravager count. There's just too much Protoss here. DRG not quite ready for this. Oh, he misses with the fungal. Barely grazes 1 Stalker, but there's too many Stalkers in total. The boys are being pulled. But Classic, he has too much. And again, this is the Classic that I'm used to seeing. GG gets called, and Classic will take the series 2-1, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Again, I appreciate that Classic was, kind of spreading his wings and spreading his horizons, playing these more macro-oriented styles in Game 1 and Game 2. But here in Game 3, the Classic of old. 3 base all in, 8 gateways. That's all you need, Bach. That's all you need. And again, DRG, he may have seen the gateway, but a big moment, a pretty crucial moment, actually, if you remember, DRG supply block. He scouted the all-in, immediately got supply blocked. He had 6 Overlords on the way, and that meant that DRG did not have the army he needed to protect his 4th. The 4th immediately gets cancelled. Already damage is done, and DRG is up against the wall. Like, getting supply blocked, especially that heavily as well, when you're going for a Roach Ravager based composition, which is very supply heavy, which is very supply intensive. That's game ending. That is game ending there. So DRG, even though he had a slight heads up, he had a couple of seconds to react, was not enough, could not keep up, and congratulations to Classic. My condolences to DRG, but also a shout out to him as well, because hey, he did force Classic to the ace match, and that was a pretty back and forth series. There was a lot to delve into, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. It was a great first starting match. And from here, Classic advances on into the next round, and I need to slip into some DMs because we have another matchup ready for us. Just making sure we get into that, and we can also take this moment to have a look at the bracket. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys wish to have a look at the bracket yourselves. Just setting things up on my end. And here we... Bam, go. Beautiful. From the top, let's refresh that bracket and go over it together. Okay, we have Gumiho taking down Noinsung 2-0. Noinsung, for those who are unaware, he is an up-and-coming amateur Korean player. He's been pretty active these past maybe 2 months. I say pretty active. He's been, you know, popping up every now and then, and a lot of the casters, a lot of us, we've been keeping our eye on Noinsung to see how well he can perform. He has had some decent performances where he's taken like a map or two here and there, so definitely keeping our eye on him. As Gumiho does take the 2-0, he advances on to face off against Hero in the upper quarterfinals. Hero, who just 2-0'd Bunny. Very impressive result here out of Hero. Bunny, he's no slouch, pretty strong Terran player in his own right, so Hero, yeah, just working his way through. Hero is going to be one of the favorite players to make it all the way into the semis, maybe even the finals. We'll see if he can be stopped though, because Gumiho is another titan in the scene, in the Korean scene. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have a TVT, Byun versus Ryung. That could go either way. I'll be honest, Ryung's best matchup is TVT. He's very, very adept at positional play, and we have seen Ryung take down big names like Clem and Byun in the past. So Ryung, on paper, as a like when it comes to all our matchups, as a player in general, I would say he's a weaker player compared to Byun, but specifically in TVT, that could go either way. That could go either way, so pretty high profile Terran versus Terran. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Rex versus Cure in the next round. A ZVT. Big shout out to Rex. Rex, he did retire for a little bit, and nowadays I think Rex is focused a lot more on casting. He does cast over in his native language. So big shout out to Rex, as I believe he did rejoin Onside as a content creator, but he's still playing as well. I think basically Rex is pulling a pig where he competes and then he casts if he gets knocked out. So big shout out to Rex. Best of luck, as Cure is going to be the favorite player, and we should be getting into a bunch of TVTs here. That's that's a lot of Terran. Best of luck to Rex. Best of luck. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have our matchup. Dark, he 2-0'd Fork, and Dark was waiting patiently for the winner of our series. It's going to be Classic versus Dark up next. Here we go. So our players are just conducting their vetoes, and then we will be jumping into that series. Scrolling down a little bit further, we have Oliveira once again getting his revenge. I was very tempted. I was very torn whether I should jump into DRG versus Classic or Oliveira versus Cyan, because they have been going back and forth. We have seen recently Cyan take down Oliveira, which is shocking, by the way. It's happened before. It happened in KSL 2 weeks ago. And they had a rematch last week in ESL Asia. They had a rematch again, and they went to the ace match. So for those of you that are maybe not following the Chinese scene, Cyan has been popping off recently. Cyan alongside Jeshi, alongside Firefly, they've all been looking amazing when it comes to the Chinese Protoss players. And they always have these surprising moments where they can pop off and take down a big name. So this is another example of that, where he doesn't take the series, but force the ace match. Impressive. Impressive stuff there by Cyan. Meanwhile, at the bottom of the bracket, we do have another matchup. We have Solar versus Close. Close is another amateur player. We have casted him in the past. I think he's a Terran. I can't quite remember his race, I'll be honest. We casted him like maybe a month ago. Once, so I apologize for forgetting. But Close is up against Solar. Winner goes up against Oliveira. And Solar versus Oliveira was a matchup that did occur last week in the semi-finals of ESL Open Cup Asia. Last week we casted Oliveira. He took down Dark 2-1, and then he went up against Solar, where Oliveira didn't have as much success. Solar did knock him out in the semi-final. So we did cast that last week. Looks like another rematch. Looks like Solar and Oliveira are poised to face off. This time, instead of the semis, they're going to be facing off in the quarterfinals. So it's a really good matchup, and I would love to get into that as well. I will try to if we wrap up with Dark versus Classic a little bit faster. So we're going to be focusing on Dark versus Classic, and then we'll focus on the lower portion of the brackets. Oliveira, Solar, Close, and the lower semifinals. This is kind of where our stream is going to be focused. If you want to tune into some of these upper matches, and there are a lot of really good ones, like Byun, Gumiho, Hero, Cure, a lot of Terran, but you know, we got a Hero repping Protoss and Rex repping Zerg. If you want to tune into these matches, I believe Steadfast, I believe he's casting Gumiho versus Hero. I believe that's where he is. And I'm not sure where Chicken Man is, but there is a third English caster, Chicken Man. He's also out there covering another series. Just as a heads up. And here we go. Again, it looks like our vetoes are just now finishing up, so we are able to get ready for that. Again, we're still in the early rounds. Still in the quarterfinals. We're still looking to determine who makes it into those semis. And there we go. Vetoes are done. We have our first map. It is going to be Heartland. Let's go. I'm here for it. Typically, if you're curious, if you want to get your gamba going, we usually hold off our predictions for the semifinals and the finals, just because we're usually focusing on like catching lobbies and making sure we don't get left behind. Finding players, we'll get there. Here we go. Catching up with chat. I really thought that the Dom would perform better. I mean, he did perform well. Like, he went to the ace match. Like, he did well for himself. Didn't take down Classic, but Classic is literally top 2 Protoss in Korea. I would say Hero and Classic being the top 2 and Creator just underneath them. So, yeah, falling to Classic, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And we've even seen Classic take down players like this here. In the top left, spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Dark. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds. Just took down DRG, looking for his next Zerg victim. It is Classic. Go. But yeah, we've seen Classic take down Solar, we've seen him take down DRG, Dark as well. They do go back and forth. For those that are curious, historically Dark is favored. I think it's like 60-40 in favor of Dark, but Classic has beaten him before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility for Classic to do it once again. Coming into this, Dark is going to be the slight favored player, but we'll see. We'll see how this does unfold. But I only bring this up just to emphasize that, again, DRG going to the ace match against Classic and falling there, again, there's nothing to be ashamed of there. It was still an impressive performance, and yeah, still some really good games, really good matches in that first series. Here we go for now. Dark just getting into his hatch gas pool. Standard opener out of our Zerg player. Important to point out because, as I mentioned before, Dark, he is usually one to be hyper aggressive, and it is not unheard of for Dark to go into, you know, a gas first or even a pool first in this matchup, even a 12 pool. He's done it before, he'll do it again. So Dark can be a very unpredictable player. A shout out to Jadolf in the chat letting us know that apparently Chicken Man is in the TVT. Oh, do love to see it. There you go. So again, if you want to tune into some of these other matches, you know, multi-twist it up, you know, open up a couple of tabs. You can have all the StarCraft coming at you at the same time. All three of us. Ah. Take us all. So for now, Classic is going to get the hell out of there. Just getting confirmation, getting a scout up. Making sure that droning is occurring and that we're not going for any kind of weird hidden tech. We're not staying in gas. Everything is looking normal. Likewise, Classic going for a Stargate opener back at home. We go. As Classic is even being as annoying as possible, delaying that third base, but Dark, he is wise to this. He takes the linear third instead. He will not be delayed. He will not be slowed down. So quick moves out of Dark, does take his third without being disturbed too much. Adept arrives, and Classic is looking for some economic damage. Queens are getting in position. We have another wave of links on the way, but we do come into the shade. We get into the natural waste and up. Oh, we don't quite get one. Barely both drones do survive. Oh my god, it looks like one worker will go down just barely at the end. It's an okay pickoff, but one drone for one adept, not the best trade here at a Classic, and this is what I was waiting for. It is a Stargate opener, but we're going into a Void Ray. Now, if you remember, I was sounding crazy at the start of the last series. I was like, yeah, Classic, he loves going for his Void Ray openers. He goes for them all the time. And he didn't go for a Void Ray opener at all against DRG. I was looking like a lunatic. I was like, what is Light talking about? This is like, he likes it, Bobby. Trust me, he likes it. So, again, this is why I was talking about and emphasizing how Classic is typically an aggressive player, and we didn't really see that until the end against DRG. We're seeing that here against Dark, because it's a Void Ray first, we shut down the Overlord, we delay the third, and we go straight into a Twilight Council and a Gateway Explosion. Twilight Council's on the way, we have 3 gates, 4 gates in total. This is screaming like Glaive at Eps, but to reiterate, we have seen Hero go for these 2-base Blink Stalker all-ins, where he rushes into Blink instead. This should be Glaives, and yeah, there we go. Glaives is on the way. Nowadays, I have to like, whenever I'm like, it can only be Glaives, I have to be like, well, technically, Hero does other stuff sometimes. I have to like temper my expectations a little bit. As the Lings have arrived, they dive on the third base, they're getting some damage done, they force a cancel! Very nicely done here by Dark. I'm also sure he's aware that this base is late. I'm sure he's aware that the third base has been delayed. What do we have to defend? Oh, we are rushing into a lair. I don't see a Roach Warren yet, which is concerning. We're reaching the 5-minute mark. We should be seeing a Roach Warren soon. Without it, defending with purely Lings and Queens is going to be a difficult thing to do. Lair is finishing. This is looking like Ling Hydra. Uh-oh. Here we go, Lings once again, they arrive at this third base. Meanwhile, Adepts are banking up back at home. They've yet to be revealed. We haven't shown them off yet. We get a surround. One Adept is going to go down. We're going to try and get the second, and we're going to be trying to force Classic's hand, but he refuses to show the rest of his units. The Adept is going to fall, and we're going to force another cancel. Ay. Classic just cannot expand, but he's essentially being forced into an all-in, and here it comes. And Dark is going Ling Hydra. That's why there was no Roach Warren. That's why he was waiting for the lair to finish up. Ling Hydra's on the way, and he's in some trouble. He is in trouble, and here we go. The Glaive Adepts, they have arrived. They commit to the shade. The Ling's engaged, but Ling's going to be going down. The boys, they have to be evacuated. So he busts into the middle line. Drones aren't going down. 4 dead workers. We get into the main as well. We don't quite kill any workers here, but we do deny mining time. Behind this, we're still trying to expand, still trying to work on that third. So far, 7 worker kills. At the same time, Adepts do rock up at the third. Can we get the spawning pool? I'm a little bit concerned here that we're going to be focusing on the spawning pool, but we have Transfuse. Do keep it alive, but we find even more drones. Oh my god, the boys are pulled. Not like this. We're trying to drone drill our heart out. 10 worker kills. 15. Oh my god, things escalated very quickly as an Epsay rock up here on the right hand side, and this is game-ending damage. This is just far too much. Dark barely has an economy. Trying to defend against Glaive Adepts with only Ling Queen, especially with Hydras on the way, very difficult thing to do. Almost impossible. And yeah, Dark has him pulled apart. GG gets called. Classic will take game number 1. Ooh, GG. Classic punishing the greed of Dark. As Dark, he was just rushing into Lings and Hydra, skipping the Bailey Nest, skipping the Roach Warren, skipping anything that would have kept him safe, because he was convinced that it was a standard opener. He was convinced that it was going to be Blink Stalkers, not Glaive Adepts. And Dark was caught with his pants down. The pants, they were down, they were off, they were nowhere to be seen. Caught exposed, and yeah, in the end, Classic did snowball out of control. GG. Again, for those curious, as to why Dark was going Ling Hydra is a solid composition, and it's amazing specifically against Stalker-based openers. Against Blink Stalkers, Ling Hydra does beautifully. You can transition into Lurkers from there, into Hydra, or into a much faster transition into Hydra Lurker Viper if the game goes on longer. But the downside is you take a risk if your opponent happens to be going for something different, whether it's Charge or Glaives. In this case, you know, it was almost a hard counter. I don't know if Classic assumed that Dark would skip the Roach Warren. As we saw, Classic, he wasn't really intending the game to end then and there. He was trying to expand. He was trying to work towards a Forge and a follow-up. he was pleasantly surprised that he ran into an army that didn't have roaches. And with that, we're getting into game 2, and spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Side Delta, we have the South Korean Zerg player representing CranKy Z Gaming. Down in this series, looking to fight back, it is Dark. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And I expect another Void Ray opener. To wind it back, a big reason as to why Dark didn't know what was happening. One, he wasn't trying to link scout the natural, unfortunately, but the Void Ray did shut down the Overlords. And I expect another Void Ray opener. Classic, he's really good at going for a Stargate opener into Void Ray and having a variety of different follow-ups here, continuing to keep his opponent guessing. He could go Void Ray into a standard third base, into Blink Stalkers. He could go into Glaive Adepts, could go into a Charge All-In, could go into Sky Toss. Dark is going to be in the dark if we have a similar opener, and it's going to be on Dark to try to get a read on what's happening and hopefully not cut too many corners. Here we go. A Death Printer Spirit. I mean, again, a big reason for the success of Classic in that last game was Dark cutting corners, was him taking a risk. It is always risky if you decide to rush into Hydras like that. So Dark, he rolled the dice and alas, did not go his way. Sometimes it happens. It does happen. See in the chat, Ryung beat Beyond. I feel so validated. If you remember, if you were here when we were going over the bracket, I did mention as well that that TVT was going to be really close, specifically because even though Byeon is a stronger, well-rounded player, Ryung does have as good, if not better, TVT. Like, Ryung's best matchup is TVT, so not surprising at all to see Ryung take down Byeon. I'm happy to hear that. The Tuna Terran popping up. Let's go. It's a bit of a shame. Like, I know, like, I'm a Byeon fan as well, but I'm a bigger Ryung fan. Not gonna lie. And if Ryung goes up against Cure next, Ryung, he can go for a deep run today. If he has to rely on only his TVT, if he goes up against Cure and then Gumiho in the semifinals, Ryung, he could even go all the way to the finals. Like, that is not crazy. Assuming that Gumiho beats Hero. Assuming that happens. We'll see. And so then, it's going to be a Stargate opener out of Classic. We'll see if he goes Void Ray or Oracle first. And there it is. There's that Void Ray. So, again, I expect Classic to go Void Ray every game in this series, and it's a good way to play out the series. The reason for it is Classic, he's already leading 1-0, and his Dark, he's going to be second-guessing himself. He's going to be like, is it Glaives again? You know, is it going to be Glaive Adepts? Dark, he's going to open up safely as a result. He's not going to take as many chances, as many risks. And Classic, he can play standard from here. He doesn't have to double down. He doesn't have to be aggressive. He does not have to do anything out of the norm. So the Void Ray has arrived, once again focusing on shutting down these Overlords. Dark moving out with his Lings, trying to get a read on what's going on. So far, Dark, he's just, fanning out his Lings, looking for the third base, hoping to delay it for as long as he can. Meanwhile, we've yet to really choose our tech here for Classic. He's moving out with his Oracle. I expect this to be a third base into a Twilight Council, but we don't have another Oracle on the way. We're rushing into Sky Toss. Let's go. This is something that Classic is very fond of. We've seen Classic defeat Dark in the past before, but I'm curious what he does decide to create, actually. The Oracle gets across the map. 2 worker kills, not too bad. So, Classic has been very fond of going for a Fleet Beacon into a Tempest Rush. Rushing into Tempest, getting damage done, and going for a Ground Toss transition afterwards into Blink Stalkers, only relying on 4 Tempests. But, if you were here last week when we casted Classic in KSL, I want to say, Classic didn't go Tempest, he went Carrier instead, which was very interesting. It was on Alcyone. He rushed into 4 carriers, then Ground Toss. But kind of the same the same kind of outlook here. There it is. It's going to be Tempest. So he should be going up to 4, maybe 6 Tempests at most, and then hard switching into a ground army. Tectonic Destabilizers is on the way. That is going to be the structure upgrade, or the bonus against structure upgrade here for Classic. So we have a pretty big investment. At the same time, Oracle does get across the map. 3 workers are going to be going down. Not too bad. 3 drone kills. Lings, they do confirm the 3rd base. Roaches are on the way because skipping Roaches killed Dark last time. So this time he's playing safer, making sure he has that Roach Horn just to survive and make sure he's safe. Then into the then into the Hydra Den. So Dark playing it out safely here. Delays his Hydra Den a little bit as a result. And we'll see again if we go into that Twilight Council and Forge. Now what's important is that with this build, there's no +1 air attack. Usually that's the tell. In like seasons past, that's how you tell if a player is rushing into Skytoss, because they're usually working on their upgrades. But we don't. With how Classic does this, because he doesn't commit into Skytoss, he usually goes for a Grand Toss transition. The Cybercore isn't a tell. Here we go. 4 Temps are moving out. Ling does scout this, by the way. Hydras are in production. Queens are rotating over. Thankfully, Dark does have the Hydrogen. He has anti-air. He should be able to survive this. Meanwhile, we are going up to a 5th and 6th Tempest, and I still don't see a Twilight Council. We're committing. Tempests have arrived. We have to be very careful with how we maneuver here on creep. Void Razor on the way. We're going Skytoss. Let's go. Queens are falling. Good target firing on one of those Tempests. Hydras have yet to be revealed. Looking at his vision, yeah, we have not seen the Hydra Den or the Hydras themselves. And Dark is getting ready for a surround. He's coming from behind. He's trying to trap at these Tempests. Really good movement here out of Dark. Yeah, and Classic has to get the hell out of here. And it looks like he will pivot away, and he will barely make it out of range. Oh my god. Oh, he does lose one. One Tempest goes down. Bit of an overextension there from Classic. Once again, Dark trying to flank the army. There's that Force. There's that Twilight Council on the way. We do get a full surround. Oh. Oh, but there is an area. There is a space here where we can, of course, stack the Tempest. Oh my, this is disgusting. No way for the Hydras to attack. Behind this, charges on the way. Templar Archives. We're going into Ground Toss. We're going into Chargelts and Archons. Oh, and the trades here have been insane. We're still taking a bit of hull damage, so Classic has to be very careful not to overextend. The micro here is very delicate. The Queen obviously has more range, but the Queen should be focused down. Oh. Ooh. As again, we are still on 7 Tempest. And Dark is going for a big counterattack. He has to. The Tempest. Oh my god, barely does survive. Back at home, what do we have? We have a wall of defense. Wow, only 1 shield battery, only 1 overcharge. Big overextension. The Stalkers. 1 Stalker goes down. Every unit counts. Every unit does count, but pushing into these Tempests is not going to work out. Meanwhile, Classic has not recalled. He's punishing that mineral line. But is he looking? He's not. We dive on the army. 1 Tempest goes down. We get a 2nd Tempest as well. Dark finally catches some of these units. But this hatchery is so low. 1 more volley, and it goes down. And Classic, there's no reason to recall. You can just use the dead space here. Use the terrain. Dark still in 3 bases. Thankfully, he does have a hatchery here. He's taking a 4th towards the south. Here come more Tempests across the map. Behind this, we're getting to Carriers, Storm, Charged Archon. God, and this is brutal here. It looks like we have found the sweet spot where this cannot be hit except by the Queen. The Queen getting damage done. Oh my god. A bit of miscontrol out of Classic. Again, it's a very delicate dance that he has to try to perform here. Queens are coming in from the other side. Meanwhile, this 4th base is going to be denied. The Queens are exposed. Can we get them? We got 1. Meanwhile, that was a kill. That was a kill, not a cancel. And we do get into the main base as well. Dark is being forced all in. It's all or nothing for Dark. These two Tempests are still alive. We're wreaking havoc in the main. We're going to get a kill on the main Nexus. Then we can recall back home. Meanwhile, can we defend? Storm is done. And there's that recall. We snipe the main. And with Storms, there's nothing these Hydras can do. Massive Storms on the army. GG gets called. And Classic will take the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. That was disgusting. The positioning of those Tempests in between the bases was brutal. Even though Dark rushed into Hydras, and even though we saw some really good movement out of Dark trying to get surrounds, Classic was able to recognize that in time, able to barely avoid the surrounds, avoid the flanks, and abuse the limited range of those Hydras and have his way with Dark. GG, well played. And again, Dark, he delayed his Hydra production to throw down the Roach Warren because he was, again, because Adepts killed him last time, so he had to be safe. He wasn't quite able to confirm what was happening until the Tempest came out, and we had some anti-air, sure, but yeah, Classic, the execution there was brutal. Just taking advantage of the terrain of the map itself. GG, well played. Congratulations to Classic as he does 2-0 Dark and does advance on to the semifinals. GG. Oh my god. Este Classic. And this is a variation of Tempest Rush that I haven't seen him do before. Usually, you would know this if you've been watching KSL or ESL Asia or any of our other, or GSL as well. Classic usually invests into Tempest. He doesn't get Tectonic Destabilizers. He doesn't invest in that upgrade. Gets a handful of Tempest, then transitions into Blink Stalkers, you know, and he tries to force an overreaction. But here, Classic mixed it up. He actually committed to Skytoss, made 6 Tempests, made up to 9 actually, because he lost 2. He had 7 at the end. Went up to 9 Tempests, then into Chargelot, Archon, and Storm instead. Of course, aware of the Hydras, and yeah, really nice adaptation here out of Classic, and did catch his opponent off guard. Did pull Dark apart. GG, congratulations. And with that, we are going to be taking a bit of a look here at the bracket. One moment. There we go. We have some time. We have some time to ourselves here. From the top, we do have Gumiho versus Hero. It looks like that just wrapped up, and Hero did defeat Gumiho 2-1. Hero advances on into the semifinals, which means we won't have a TVT semis. We may even have a Protoss in the finals from the upper bracket, I should say. So Hero advances on over Gumiho. Meanwhile, we mentioned before, Ryung did 2-0 Byun. Again, Ryung, he's got really strong TVT, which means even though I do still favor Cure, upsets are very possible, and Ryung could take if Ryung can take down Byun, he can take down Cure. That could go either way. That could go either direction. So that's going to be an intense TVT. I believe that's being casted by Chicken Man over on his channel. Meanwhile, I believe Steadfast wrapped up the Gumiho Hero series. I don't know where Steadfast is going next. I don't know if he's going to be sticking with the upper bracket or coming down to the lower. We're going to be staying here, obviously, as Classic 2-0 Dark, and we are waiting for Oliveira versus Solar to wrap up. We're either going to be jumping in mid-series into Oliveira and Solar, or we're going to be casting the winner of that series versus Classic. Whether it's Oliveira or Solar, yet to be determined. So we're nearing the end. We're nearing the end of the broadcast. Semifinals matches are preparing and they're getting ready. And again, like that's you know where we're headed next. Basically, we're just waiting for this series, Oliveira versus Solar, and then into Classic. That is where we are going to be focusing our attention. And we just have to wait for that series to wrap up, or for that series to open up. Which means we have a little bit of time to ourselves here. Means we have some time. Solar. I don't think there's anyone covering that series. I know Inu is casting in Korean. And I think Saber is casting in Chinese or in Mandarin or his own native language. So I don't think we have eyes on that. Oh. as they have just come out of game. They just came out of game. And do we have a result? Oh my god. We have a result coming in. It's crazy. We have a result here, and it looks like every single Zerg player has been eliminated from the tournament. Solar was taken out 2-0 by Oliveira. That sounds like an amazing series. Unfortunately, we didn't catch it. But up next, so we have a Hero waiting for either Ryung or Cure, and we have Classic versus Oliveira. Here we go. So we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a short break here. Players are conducting their vetoes, and when we return, we have our first semifinals. And predictions will be open for that. They will be open. Oh. So be sure to be there. But yeah, for now we're going to be going on a short break, and we'll be back soon. Don't go to it. Take this moment, hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, drain your disruptors, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. Oh. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that brutal OST. As predictions in the chat are open. They're open so you can place your bets on who you think is going to be this week's finalist. Will it be our Terran or our Protoss? As we are here in the semifinals of ESL Open Cup Asia number 204. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran representing CranKy Gaming. He just took down Solar 2-0. It is Oliveira. Here we go again. We've been here witnessing the run of Classic, just tearing through all the Zerg players. Took down DRG, took down Dark, but now he's up against a Terran. And we'll see if his PVT is up to snuff, because Oliveira likewise has been on fire. For Oliveira to 2-0 Solar, that is an impressive feat. But again, now his TVP also going to be put to the test. Let us go. Now, we have seen Oliveira actually be quite experimental in Terran versus Protoss recently. I always bring it back to a couple of weeks ago in WTL, where Oliveira did go for the proxy double factory against Trigger on this map on Oceanborn. Clearly that's not happening here. There's no proxy whatsoever, but that does show us, that does tell us that Oliveira, again, he's willing to be more exploratory, he's willing to be more aggressive and even cheesy at times in this matchup. So bear that in mind coming into this series. For now, it is going to be a Rax Expand. Oh, Classic being so annoying. Oh my god. Barely doesn't get a kill on the SCV, does escape in the end, forcing a second SCV down onto the low ground. And again, we have an economic opener. Rax Expand, only a single gas geyser from Oliveira. Everything looking normal, everything looking as it should. Reaper is going to be moving out, zooming across said map. Meanwhile, back at home, Classic just going for a Gate Cyber Expand. Likewise, not really doing anything out of the norm. We have our tech of choice, though. It is going to be a Stargate, and I appreciate that. In recent weeks, in recent months, it feels like the Stargate opener has fallen out of favor in this matchup. We've seen a lot of Blink Stalker based play, a lot of Twilight Councils, a lot of Robo as well. So I'm happy to see a Stargate once again. It feels like it's been far too long, for myself at least. With the Stargate opener, we can go in a couple of different directions. We can either go into Phoenixes for map control, or we can go Oracles for harass into Blink to get into those Blink Stalkers later on for that map control instead. So one or the other, Oracles or Phoenixes, which will we go for? Back at home, Oliveira just getting into a safety opener himself. Again, it was economic. We have the bunker on the low ground. We have Cyclones on the way just to secure ourselves, just in case an Oracle were to show up. So Oliveira just playing safe and sound. Reaper still trying to find a way into these bases. Alas, he is zoned away, and we have our answer. It is not an Oracle, it is in fact going to be Phoenixes. Phoenixes are on the way. It looks like the Adept is going to be recalled back home. Sorry, I was just closing the door. I should say, sorry, opening the door. Was getting a little bit stuffy in here. But yeah, we have, of course, our tech of choice, Stargate into Phoenixes, Robo on the way behind this. This is looking like a more traditional Classic Phoenix Colossus opener here from our Protoss. Things are looking, yeah, a lot more old. I say old school, like a couple of months ago. I mean, the meta does shift quite quickly here in StarCraft, and it wasn't that long ago. It doesn't feel like that long ago when Phoenix Colossus was the meta in the last map pool. Immortals are on the way, there's Robotics Bay, Colossus are going to be on the horizon as well. So again, Phoenixes for map control and Colossus to deal with the ground army. This should be leading into a third. So very tech heavy, very passive play here from Classic. As a result, Oliveira is free to do whatever he wants, and back at home, just getting into his standard 1-1-1 follow-up, into his 3-1-1 setup here with 3 Raxes. We do have a Mind Drop getting ready to go in towards the natural. Classic not quite in position. He only invested, he cut corners, only 2 Phoenixes by the way. So very greedy stuff here out of Classic. Just cutting Phoenixes early on, getting the bare minimum, trying to rush into that third and the Colossus. just now making his third Phoenix. As a result, he just hasn't had the opportunity, just doesn't have the army even to harass across the map, do much of anything. And we're just waiting for Oliveira to pull the trigger. Ideally, he wants to try to pull apart the attention of Classic and have something else to try to, again, grab said attention. Hallucination comes in. We do get eyes on all the production. Interference Matrix on the way, which is going to work wonders here because he's up against a Colossus heavy composition. Phoenix is there looking for any kind of drop play. Now working on a fourth Phoenix. But the medevac has not been seen. Has not been scouted. And Classic is getting his third up and running. Everything, we're just kind of easing our way in towards the mid-game. Everything looking pretty normal so far. I mean, again, we have Classic being greedy and so far not being punished for it. Likewise, Oliveira has been left to his own devices. We still don't really have a sign of a third CC yet, but Oliveira should be working in that direction. And there it is. Third CC is now thrown down. So he's not going for a 2-base all-in. He is expanding behind this push, and he should be pushing. Like with Stim, Combat Shields, Concussive Shell, +1, with everything finishing up. Oliveira should be moving out. Here comes that move out. Again, being very careful, hoping to come across an observer. Medevac still hasn't gone in, has been so patient with it, but the Phoenixes, they want that Raven. They do scout the move out, and they catch some of these reinforcements. Widowmine's going to be going down, Marines as well. Meanwhile, Oliveira, he's committed. Observer does spot the army. Classic responds at the same time. Mind Drop does come into the natural and towards the main base. So far, only one probe goes down. Meanwhile, we do get into the main. We do force a reaction. Observer has been spotted. 3 probes go down. Oliveira still looking for a way in, but pushing into 3 Colossi. I understand he has Disable, that's true, but that's still a lot of firepower. Oliveira is going to pivot away. Oh, the medevac is barely going to be saved. Mind Shot goes off, not bad, on the Phoenixes. And from here, Oliveira should be backing off. He doesn't have to commit. Remember, he's expanding. He's not all in, taking a third base. And soon going for a bit of multi-prong harassment here. He's going for a double drop towards the left-hand side. His main army here towards the right, keeping the attention on the right-hand side on this army. Oh, but the good force fields, we engage. Raven does barely disable 2 of those Colossi, but there's barely anything left. The damage has been done, and Oliveira is going to be cleaned up. Classic completely shuts this down. Again, the disables were just too little too late. We do go for the double drop in towards the natural. We get a couple of worker kills. We can maybe go for the robo, but there's just not much here. And the overcharge. Try to keep it alive. Mine Shot's going to be going off, but yeah, the army has made it back in time. Decent mine shots, but that was a pretty expensive loss for Oliveira. I'm afraid to look here as we even chase down some of these medevacs. Oh. And the medevacs, they will not escape. One of them might. And here comes the rest of the army. Looking at the battle report, of course. What did we lose? 22 Marines, 9 Marauders, Cyclones, medevacs as well. And we traded with a Gateway army. The Robos survived. Sorry, the Robos? I mean, the Robo did survive. Colossus survived. Immortals as well. The Robo army did make it out unscathed. Not even losing any hull damage. And now Oliveira's in a lot of trouble. He's on the back foot. Does have to take a defensive position. Getting ready to receive. And Mine Shot's going to be going off. So far, only on Zealots. And only on a handful of them. And now we can keep on pushing forward. Good target firing on the Prism. Prism goes down, but it's not going to be enough. GG gets called. Classic overwhelms the army. And Classic will take game number 1. GG. Again, it was basically the turns were tabled or everything just turned on its head when Oliveira was caught out on that right-hand side. His goal there was just to be a presence on the map but not commit. He wasn't looking for a fight. He was picking off pylons. He was again trying to distract the army to allow his drop to come in, but Classic caught him. Classic, he caught the army off guard. The disables were too late. We already got like 2 or 3 swipes in before the Colossi were disabled, and yeah, Oliveira's army just melted before the might of Classic. Classic, from that moment, snowballed out of control. GG. And with that, Classic needs one more win here to advance on into the grand finals. Oliveira has to fight back here and now as we load into a very different map. Going to be loading in to Hardland. Here we go. Meanwhile, I believe Chicken Man is covering the upper semifinals. I believe he is on that Hero series, question mark. Let me just double check if Hero has an opponent yet. And how that is progressing. Otherwise, I believe Chicken Man is in the TVT. And, oh, there we go. We have confirmation. We have an update. Cure did take down Ryung 2-0. Cure avenging Beyond, taking him down. And Chicken Man is covering Hero versus Cure in the upper semis. And here we go. We're getting into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Hardland. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Twisted Minds. Leading the series 1-0. It is Classic. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player, the reigning world champion representing CranKy Gaming, going for a bit of a proxy. It is Oliveira. Here we go. No shot as the probe scout is coming in, and Classic, he comes across the proxy almost immediately, forces the cancel as well. A disastrous start for Oliveira. Thankfully, you know, the proxy was like almost halfway done. There wasn't too much progression on it, so didn't waste too much time, but this is the disastrous start. Does mean that the Rax is delayed, the would-be factory is delayed, the Reaper as well. Everything is going to be a little bit later here for Oliveira, as again, it is a double gas opener and is going for a delayed command center. Now, I'm curious, is this enough to force an all-in? I'm very curious here, because Oliveira has been known to all-in, to one-base all-in in TVP before, and he is set up for it if he does wall off, and if he does shoo away this probe, but probe gets in, probe does confirm the gases. It is going to be locked out of the main base. Factory is on the way. Classic is in the dark. So we'll see how committed Oliveira is going to be. We'll see how much he delays his expansion for. He should be going into a CC after this. That would make the most sense. But we'll keep an eye on it. Meanwhile, across the map, Classic getting into his gate cyber expand, feeling pretty good about his position. He knows that the Reaper is going to be delayed and he can just chill back at home. Just probing up and getting into his mid game. Meanwhile, back at home, there it is. CC is on the way. So Oliveira, he isn't doubling down, going like into a 1-1-1, into a starport or a second factory. We are expanding. Speaking of, there's that starport on the way. And a Classic 2 games in a row. We have our tech of choice, which is immediately scouted, by the way. Oliveira does see and does get eyes on the Stargate. Stargate has been spotted. So he's aware that Phoenixes should be on the way, or that Oracles are also a potentiality. It's going to be on this Reaper to go back in and to get eyes on the first unit of choice. As Oliveira does take a couple of hits to the face. But he will make it out. Barely make it out in the end. So we do have just a bit of map control here for Classic moving on forward. We have our unit. It is going to be a Phoenix, not an Oracle. So once again, Classic more concerned with map control than anything. Playing it out safely. Cyclone has been revealed. We do get a lock on. We don't quite get the Stalker, but we have the Reaper coming in from behind. We trade 2 for 1. Not a bad trade for Oliveira, but I'm sure he needed that Cyclone. He was going to go for a double Cyclone drop, and losing a Cyclone this early on is huge. Medevac has been spotted. Oliveira is going to be pushing. Back at home, Classic is getting in position, going for additional warp-ins. Robo's on the way. Once again, looks like Classic wants to go into Phoenix Colossus. So race into those Colossi as quickly as he can. Army has been revealed, and Oliveira wants none of it. If he had his second Cyclone, then maybe he could try to push forward, but without it, he has to respect the army of Classic, and he backs off. And he did force an overreaction. He did force a shield battery and an extra wave of units, but Classic is now looking to expand. Now looking to take his third. So Classic is going for a bit of a counterattack. Does confirm that the army came back home. Does see the Cyclone, the Medevac, the Marines. So Classic should be feeling pretty safe about not just expanding but also taking. And there it is. Bay is on the way. Now this Bay, I believe, is a little bit later than last game. I think we prioritized the Robotics Bay over the third in game 1, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, we're getting into the same structures, the same overall end game. Pieces are across the map. They get eyes on the production, they get eyes on the tank production. Taking some extra hits though, but it looks like we will get some SCVs. Oh, that's 3 SCVs going down for only a bit of hull damage. Across the map, we do have that Liberator sieging up the Natural. And Classic will recall back home. Does get her in time, does shut down that Liberator. Yeah, with that, I do want to say that Classic is in a more commanding position here. He's got a third, he's got good saturation, working towards his first Colossi. A stark difference here, actually, when it comes to the units that Oliveira has. He's building up a tank count, don't get me wrong, so he's working towards a big 2-base tank push. No Raven this time. No Raven, no Interference Matrix. It means that these Colossi are going to pose a bigger threat to Oliveira. There is no way to counteract them as well as we otherwise would have seen. Oh boy. That's Classic going for his own proxy across the map. Getting set up here on these 3 bases. Working towards his next step. Forge, Twilight Council. I imagine this is going to be for charge. Blink isn't going to be as necessary because of these Phoenixes, but we don't have that many of them, so yeah, we'll see what direction he goes in. And Oliveira still just building up that tank count. We have 3. We are soon to have 4. 4 tanks. Stim +1. It's time to move out. It's time to send everything across the map. A massive 2-base push here is going to be spotted by Classic. He does have the Observer in position. Does see the Medevacs. And Oliveira, he is so committed with this. Cutting workers early on. He has even pulled a couple of boys. It's all or nothing for Oliveira. But the Colossus, they do meet up with the army. They do force a siege, slowing this down. And Classic just has to buy time. The more often he can force a siege, the slower this army pushes. And the more warp-ins Classic has. As he's catching reinforcements. Decent force fields with the tank shots. Up. Big tank shots are going to be going off. Likewise across the map where we do catch a tank as well. That's Oliveira, he's gaining ground. Oh my god, getting a lot of hits in on the Colossi. 1 Colossus goes down and it looks like the second gets target fired. And Oliveira, he is breaking through. Good target firing here from those tanks. Breaks through the Colossus, gets towards that third. Charge isn't done. We need a little bit more time. Charge is not complete, and Oliveira, it looks like he has done it. He has broken the 3rd base, and he will be able to keep on pushing. There's nothing to slow him down. No more Colossi, no more Immortals. Again, Classic a little bit too cavalier with his army. He's coming with those chargelets, though. The tanks are on siege. Up. And it looks like we barely will get on top of the tanks. They do trade out, but they're still Marines. Marines are left over. We can stim on forward. And Oliveira, does he barely have enough? The force fields, they buy some time. The Colossus arrives. No shot. Colossus makes it out just in time. Classic still has a worker lead. He may have lost his base, but he didn't lose his workers. There's one tank left. Can Oliveira break him? There's no shield battery. The target firing. No shield battery, no overcharge. The boys are being pulled. The tank is going to go down. And Classic holds. That was a tight hold, though. And Oliveira was basically all in. There is no third TC. He's backing off. He's rebuilding. He's remaxing. Classic. Long distance mining. I worry for Classic, though. I worry that this second wave that will be coming is going to be too much. Oh, never mind, as Oliveira throws down his third. He is going to be calming down and backing up. Oh, there. So we had a line of turrets behind us. And we have to kind of take a moment here to take stock. One, Classic didn't retain a lot of his probes, true, but he had to pull the boys towards the end. And that meant that he lost his big worker advantage. Lost those 10 workers, his Colossus count was reset, his Immortal count was reset. I want to say that Oliveira is now in a better position. We have an even worker count plus mules. Oliveira has a better economy. When it comes to the army, he still has Liberators, tanks. The Libs and the Vikings, they're kind of the big win condition here for Oliveira. There is no answer for them. There is no answer. There's no Blink. There's very few Phoenixes. Liberators should be able to bully the ground army. So Oliveira has an advantage, but we'll see if Classic can make some magic happen. Specifically with Storm. With Storms, anything is possible. We could collapse on the army and have some really good connections. We could even try to go for some Storm Drop harass and try to cripple the economy. That's the biggest thing right now, is that Classic has to do something about the economy. But Oliveira is already pushing out. Classic needs time. Storm is not done. Storm just not done, and Oliveira, he's coming in with the second wave. May not have killed his opponent with the first attack, but did cripple him. And now we're here to finish the job, to clean up. Liberators leapfrogging forward, tank as well. Next is taking a lot of hits. We have to engage. Storm is done. We do pick up those tanks, just barely. Big storms on the army. Oh my god. And Classic, he breaks through the tank line. The storms are good enough. MVP Phoenixes as well. Crowd controlling those tanks. If we weren't able to lift up those tanks, we would have seen a very different fight. Classic, he is fighting back. Looking at the units here, he still has 4 High Templar. Needs more time, though, to gather up energy. Doesn't have storms yet. Oliveira does retreat. He's getting out of tank production into Widow Mines. We have 1 tank back at home. 4th CC on the way. Oliveira, the longer this goes on, I want to say the better this is for Oliveira. And yeah, Classic, he knows that. Classic, we should have seen a 4th by now. He can still throw it down, but we'll see if he goes for a Warp In. Yeah, we have the Warp In instead. Zealots, High Templar. Does catch the army. Getting a Marauder, getting 2. Not bad. Pushing on forward. We do have some ghosts. We do have EMPs. EMPs are available. Good splits. Colossi lagging behind a little bit. And do we have enough? Storms are looking okay on some of these Vikings, on some of the High Templar, on some of the Medivacs even. And Classic, it looks like he's barely breaking through. The boys have to be pulled into Colossus, into Archons. Ay, ay, ay. And Classic, he's pulling it off. Again, he was so committed. He was so all in with this attack. And he breaks through. 46 SCVs go down. Oliveira, he was working on his 4th. He was working on a longer game. Cancels the 4th. He needs the money. And Classic, he's done it. I wasn't sure if he could. I didn't think he could. I thought we would go to the ace match. GG gets called. Classic, able to counterattack, able to break Oliveira and take the series 2-0. GG. Oh my god. Against all odds. The most surprising thing was the attack, the second wave, when he was able to CC those tanks, storm the army, and break Oliveira then and there. Classic was suddenly back in this. As we saw, like, Oliveira still had a better economy, and he was working on a 4th. He was hoping to max out, but yeah, that was wild. GG, well played. Congratulations to Classic as he does advance on to the grand finals. My condolences to Oliveira. Again, he didn't have a bad showing here in game 2. It was so close yet so far. Wasn't able to pull it off. And with that, Classic is our first finalist. And we have yet to determine who faces him in those finals. Who is going to be there? Is it going to be Hero or Cure? Again, Chicken Man is covering. He's in game 1. Is now covering game number 1. And we are looking to get into game number 2. Once they wrap up. Okay. Oh, let's go. So, again, with this next series, I will have a co-caster. I will be joined by the Chicken himself. Again, Chicken Man, he can fill us in on what happened in game 1, as we will be joining a call here for game number 2 once they wrap up. Once they do wrap up. As we do set up all of our matches. So, yeah, with that, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we will have Hero versus Cure game number 2, and I'm going to be joined by Chicken Man. We'll be co-casting. We have casted once before. We covered ESL Open Cup Americas. This is the first time we're going to be joining forces for ESL Asia. We were in talks earlier talking about how, like, I was talking about how, like, I'm so lonely. I'm missing my co-casters. Missing my co-casters, but we're gonna get them. We're gonna have them. Just make sure I get his name correct. Okay, so yeah, again, we're gonna be going on a short break. We'll be back soon with game number 2. Enjoy. That would be nice.
It's important, you know.
That would be nice. We just wrapped up with the lower semifinals, at least on my end of things. We just wrapped up with the lower semifinals, but we're jumping in mid-series, right?
Yes, we are indeed. This is game 2 of the top side semis. What happened down there in the bottom side?
It was wild. Classic He brought back, you know, the traditional Phoenix Colossus in PvT, and we were all very happy about it. Against Oliveira, and yeah, it was looking quite strong actually. Oliveira in game number 2 tried to go for a 2-base all-in. He broke the 3rd base. He reset the Colossus count. Classic was looking dead, by the way, and Classic went for a 2-base all-in as Oliveira was going for a 4th and was like trying to recover from his own like attack, and it was very close. It was like very on the knife's edge there, where Classic was able to just barely kill Oliveira, and yeah, he got the 2-0. 2-0.
Nice. Well, I will tell you, game 1 of this, sounds like it looked a little bit similar to that. It was Phoenix Colossus out of Hero, and Hero went for a big 3-base attack. It did not work. Cure held on, but then Cure didn't get any counter damage done, so Hero just kind of macroed. It turned into a base trade.
Oh.
Which was very, very close, but Cure lost all his production. So while Hero had no mining, he could actually build units. And Cure could not. So Hero eventually was able to kill Cure to take game 1. And now here we are in game 2. We're on Oceanborn. Spawning in the lower right-hand corner, it is Team Liquid's Cure.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Hero.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised to see both Classic and now hearing Hero as well go for Phoenix Colossus again. I don't know about your experiences, but like I haven't seen it as prevalent this patch. I've been seeing a lot more Twilight Council play, which was you know, pleasantly surprising to see a little bit less Phoenix Colossus, but at least tonight anyway, our Protoss players, they're going back to it.
I feel like a lot of the PvT I've been watching has been Max Packs, who I don't think knows that Blink Stalkers, like you can build other units than Blink Stalkers. So I kind of agree. I feel like Phoenix Colossus has been taking a bit of a backseat. But yeah, it's cool to see it. It's cool to see it coming back. I do still feel like it's just such a solid macro style. I love Phoenix openers. They deal with harassment so well. Anytime I see like a Widowmine drop or like Hellions trying to get in and it's a Phoenix opener, just feels like the most useless thing in the world.
Yeah, it's powerful, you know, and hey, I mean, it worked for both Classic and for Hero, but we are getting a little bit of diversity here today. Here in game 2, at least, Hero is going for something different.
No, I'm glad to see it. Again, last game got kind of weird, so maybe he's like, I want to get that pressure going. His 3-base Phoenix Colossus attack didn't really work, so why not instead go for like 3-gate Blink Stalkers?
Yeah.
Maybe 4?
Yeah, we have 3 gateways for the time being. It's good that you pointed out, you know, depending on how many gateways, it will tell us how aggressive Hero wants to be, whether he wants to take a 3rd base or double down, and there's that 4th gateway. You called it.
Yeah, and you know, it is funny, Max Packs, not to bring him up again, but his PvT is insane, so he's kind of the bar I measure everybody else against. He's been going for just 3-gate Blink Stalkers, even when he's getting hyper aggressive, even when he's like not quite all in, but just wants to kill the Terran. It's just been 3 gates, and it's been kind of interesting that he hasn't been spending the money on that 4th gateway.
Yeah.
But there is a Widowmine drop coming in now.
Here we go, the Mine Drill coming towards the natural base. We do get eyes on it, and it looks like we do pull the boys just in time. Oh! 1 probe goes out, and a couple of extra here at the natural.
Hold on. Oh, the bait. Okay, all right. Oh, Cure being annoying.
The retargeting here in the main base of probes, they almost come back, and we're still going to get still not a probe. Oh my god.
He goes for the Adept. Oh, man. Well, Cure causing a lot of lost mining time and getting, what was that, 3-4 probes and an Adept?
Yeah, not too bad here from Cure. On top of that, he also scouts everything, right? He's confirmed the blink this time, so he knows he doesn't have to worry about Phoenixes or anything like that. Quickly looking at his vision, Cure, he did get eyes on all the gateways except for the one at the natural, so he's aware of at least 3 gates, so he's getting ready for any kind of counterattack with his tanks. His bunkers are in position as well. Really good SimCity here in the main.
Yeah, this is looking nice for Cure. That scout, I think you nailed it. Very crucial that he saw those gateways by the Reaper jump up spot. so that he can know exactly, or at least roughly, what he's up against, right? Seeing 3 gates is still pretty much a tell that you're going to get attacked. He knows it's Blink. And I think he's pretty well set up. I mean, the 3rd tank is popping right now.
Yeah, we got the 3 tanks set up. We have a really nice line here, a wall of defense. We have Marines in position. No bunker in the main base, which is maybe a vulnerability. But here, he's trying to get a read on what's going on. He dives into the tanks.
Oh, he's going to get both of these siege tanks and get out of there with most of the stalkers still alive. Did lose a couple, but picked up most of them, and that's going to make it really tough for Cure to deal with this as Hero maneuvers around and now gets into the main base.
Yeah, only 1 tank left. It is getting in position, but slightly out of range here of these stalkers, and here he can always just rotate towards the natural, and that's exactly what he does. He blinks down to the low ground. No tank in position here.
Yeah, the SCV's trying to get on repair for this bunker. They will actually get there in time, and they're going to save it. The Raven even dropping an auto turret before it dies. But what a save there from Cure.
Oh my god, yeah, the repairs were clutch. The mass around the hug on the bunker does keep it alive. We do end up getting eyes on the Observer. Unfortunately, there is a 2nd Observer already in position for Hero, and he dives. Oh, he's looking to dive back in. Oh my god.
Whew. That War Prism getting very low. That is a crucial unit. And there's no 3rd behind this for Hero. He is not expanding off the back of this, so he needs to get damage done.
He really does.
Cure, I feel like he's getting closer and closer to being able to just hold on to this.
Yeah, I mean,
Stim is almost done.
You brought it up.
Oh man, and Hero.
He dives on the Prism. The Prism is going to be going down. We have no reinforcements, and Hero, he's being forced out of the main.
Yeah, and once he leaves, he is not really going to be able to come back in, not without those reinforcements or the high ground vision. You mentioned a 2nd Observer, but it's kind of far back, and this isn't enough Stalkers to really be that scary anymore. Cure has held on.
Yeah, Cure, he is holding. Hero forced to expand, but as you mentioned, this is a late 3rd base from Hero. Wasn't really his intended kind of game plan. It doesn't look like. He throws down the 3rd, he's throwing down a robotic space. He's trying to transition into Colossus or Disruptors, but again, this all does feel late from Hero.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's not the ideal thing. He's got to transition out of this. Going to be heading towards that Robo Bay, but Cure's going to have a powerful push opportunity here. Stim is done. He's got a couple of medevacs out. He's got a bunch of tanks. The Stalkers can pick some units off, and they can keep him back. There's a new War Prism in town, and some Stalkers are going to try to hit the main and just pick off some SCVs here, maybe keep Cure on the defensive. Hero right now needs to buy time.
Yeah,
that's his main goal.
Exactly. He has to try to force Cure to stay at home for as long as possible. He does threaten that middle line, but as we can see, like, these 4 Stalkers, they just can't really do much here, as Cure even feeling confident enough to move out. Soon to be taking his own 3rd base as the 3rd CC is on the way. He's dancing with the army, and Cure, he wants to push.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's absolutely the right call. The longer he waits, the worse this gets for him. There is a Colossus about to pop already. Thermal Lance is being chrono boosted. If Cure goes now, I think he has a possibility of getting some damage done. But as I say that, I mean, more units warping in for Hero, and his army is looking pretty solid.
Oh, it is. He almost picks up a tank, to be fair. Like, that was very close. Clutch moves out of Cure. He does barely save it. Does keep the tank alive, and his army has been spotted again. Cure just trying to slow him down, force out a Stim.
Yeah, I mean, forcing these Stims is really nice. Obviously, Cure just wants to push that Warp Prism away and get the Stalkers off of his back, but I think this has bought enough time. That tank being super low, more Warp-ins on Hero's side of the map. Cure scanned and saw exactly what he was up against, and he's just going to pull back, take the 3rd, and macro out of this.
Yeah, a very mature decision here out of Cure. I think a lesser player would have tried to just go anyway, but he respects Hero. He's aware of his defensive capabilities, and he's going to back off. And we still have a pretty strong defensive line here, bearing in mind that we're up to 4 tanks, so we can always use them for a later timing instead.
Yeah, and Hero sees exactly what he's got going on back at home. He's got the Observer directly over Cure's army. I'm surprised Hero's actually getting aggressive right now. I feel like Cure's defensive setup is so good. The Observer gets gunned down. Oh my god, siege tanks.
Brutal here on that Stalker. We have a line of tanks, a line of Widow Mines as well here. He's going to try to poke at the 3rd base, but really he's just posturing. It looks like he doesn't really intend to commit as he's expanding behind this. So as you mentioned, like, it would not be a wise choice to try to break this position, but he's at least containing Cure.
Yeah, and just keeping him back, keeping tabs on the army. Cure can't go for drops and things like that if he has to focus on defending, right? And it's worth noting with Hero going for a 3-base committed attack in the last game. He might have been trying to fool Cure into thinking, hey, it's another one of those. I'm going to come in. You have to defend. Really respect this, but at the same time, he is taking that 4th base. He's got a 2nd Robo on the way. Is that Warp Prism speed or Observer speed?
Oh, that's... I think that's Observer speed. Yeah.
I think it is, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. They look so similar.
They do. I get it mixed up as well. Yeah. It's like you're testing me, and I'm like, oh, I'm not sure myself. I didn't.
It's like a test, but I don't actually know the answer either. So.
Oh my goodness, here we go. We do have the Mind Drops trying to slip into these bases here. Nice position, but Hero, he does notice in time, does pull back.
He's paying attention. Does a couple of probes. Bound to happen.
Oh.
Actually, that's going to be 7 probes for 2 mines. And the armory is done. So he needs to build another cannon in the main base now.
Oh, yeah. So very nicely timed Mind Drop here. At the same time, there was a Zealot counterattack, but didn't really kill too much. Reinforcements were in position. Cure snowballing a bit out of control because of his defense early on, but oh, he does get caught out.
Yeah, some nice force fields there. Hero just picking off some units. But Cure is still 26 army supply ahead. As 7 more probes go down, oh my god, and a Stalker dies to the Widow Mines.
Yeah, not too bad. Hero, he's pretty committed, but he's down in supply. Cure's defensive setup is looking solid. A couple of his tanks are a little bit further back here. There is maybe an opening in towards the natural, but Hero, does he really want to commit?
I don't think this would be a good idea for Hero to commit into at all. He's down so far, even with a big warp in here. I mean, ghosts are out for Cure. He can EMP the crap out of this Gateway army. The one thing, the Viking count is not super high, and there are 4 Colossi here. But how do you attack into these tanks?
Yeah, exactly. And Hero, he's trying to find an answer to that. He's trying to rotate around, trying to find an area where maybe there's an opening, and looks like he may have found one. The tanks aren't quite covering the 4th base, but because of the terrain here, you have to commit so hard, and yeah, he does pull back in the end. And we're actually going into a Dark Shrine.
Yeah, I think that's a great choice. I mean, the late game Blink DTs. Does it get any better than that for Protoss?
Yeah, I mean, we don't get to see it too often, but hey, they can come in, they can snipe planetaries, you know, without too much issue, with enough Dark Templar. We always love to see that.
We being not the Terrans,
yeah.
Specifically. But I think it is an important part of like the late game Protoss versus Terran. But Cure doesn't want to let him get there. He doesn't want to let him get to Blink DTs. He is pushing across the map right now. He's fully maxed. He's got 2-2 all finished up. He's going to have that upgrade lead. But oh my god, the siege tanks getting caught. That's such a crucial part of Cure's army.
Yeah,
and it is gone.
3 tanks to go down. Only 1 tank is remaining here, and here he can set up a surround with all these charges. Again, there are still so many Colossi available. These mines, they need to be perfect. The EMPs as well, as Cure is going to try to zone back this army.
Yeah, there are 5 Immortals in this army as well for Hero, which, I mean, don't discount those. That is a lot of damage output just sitting underneath. And we got another base trade? What is happening here?
Yeah,
Hero's like, actually, screw it. I'm going to go across the map.
Yeah. I mean, you could argue that maybe Hero could have tried to commit and collapse on this army, but no, he doesn't want anything to do with any of those ghosts. Even he goes straight for the main base, goes straight for the production.
Ooh, and the DTs here could be really, really useful, as he's already hitting the main base production. The natural is going to be going down. There's not going to be a lot of scans available for Cure, especially if he has to lift these. He can EMP, but he's got to be paying attention to any DTs that warp in on the other side of the map.
Yeah, exactly. We have 1 Dark Templar so far, I believe, with the main army. There it is. They're on the low ground as we take control of the main base. Force a lift on the CC. That's 2 CCs going down. We're down to 1, I believe. We have planetaries, but we don't have scans.
Yeah, this could be a really big problem for Cure, but Cure learned a lesson from last game. He is lifting his production and floating it down to his planetary. But Hero is already done with the main, the natural, and the 3rd. Now it's just the 4th base. And as Cure hits the main base, I think Hero's actually poised to win this. The double planetary, is it going to be enough? I don't think so, man. There's 5 Immortals in here. They will just dumpster these planetaries. And Cure is suddenly going to be floating barracks and just desperately trying to kill his opponent before his opponent kills him.
Yeah, every single planet is going to be going down. 0 mining here for Cure. Meanwhile, we have a ninja base here from Hero, so he still has economy, he still has mining going on. And what's important, no scans. We do have EMPs. We can still warp in a wave of Dark Templar to try to finish this off. Hero is supply blocked, and he actually only still has 1 DT, but I mean, Cure, can he ever break this position? Can he ever break this ninja base?
I mean, that's going to be the question. Cure has no other option but to kill every single building of Hero. He's got to just go for it. He's down 30 army supply. I think Hero can hold this.
Yeah, there's a world where if Hero moves out with like a portion of his army and he gets caught out, then maybe Cure can deal with this if he's able to deal with like segments at a time. So Hero has to be a little bit careful, but he's moving out with Stalkers. Does take a tank shot to the face, but he picks off a ghost, and every ghost going down is just so crucial.
Yeah, I mean, every unit here that Hero can pick off. Hero does not have the ability to make more units right now, which is a problem for him. But his forge is still up, so he's building cannons. Where is his forge? How does he have a forge? Oh, it's right there. It's under the army. But Hero also sees that Cure doesn't have a base, right? So he knows he just needs to defend. He won't be making that mistake and moving out with a big portion of his army. He's just got to hold on here. That's all he has to do. He has an overcharge available.
Yeah, and he's even getting ready for a flank. We have a big portion of Zelti on the right-hand side getting ready for a surround even, so Kira has to be so careful, so delicate with his movement. The tanks are slowly sieging forward, getting within range, but I feel like soon Hero, he's going to pull the trigger.
Yeah, big EMP goes down. Super Shield Battery does turn on. The moment there's a stim from Cure, I think is when we're going to see Hero move forward. Cure is trying to be patient, just letting this tank do the damage. Those 3 tanks going down earlier end up being a huge factor here. If there were 4 tanks, this would be a much harder situation for Hero.
Yeah, 100%. You could argue that was maybe the game-winning move of Hero, sniping all 3 of those tanks, allowing him to go for the space trade, allowing this position to be so strong for him. And yeah, now Curie's up against the wall. He is slowly leapfrogging forward here, but we have more cannons, more shield batteries, more gateways. Hero, he's soon going to try to go for Warbeat, but we commit.
Yeah, Cure deciding to stim forward. Ooh, there's a DT in the front line as well, just helping out. The Widow Mines on the back going to try to hit these Zealots, but it is going to be way too much Protoss, and Hero is going to break Cure and take the 2-0 victory.
GG, well played, Cure. He was the Terran hope of the tournament. He was trying to deny the PvP mirror matchup finals, but he does fall here, and we do have that PvP finals on the way.
Yes, indeed, as it should be. Protoss versus Protoss.
Let's go. Look, I know my
I feel like we're seeing the Protoss resurgence right now.
Yeah, that's, you know, is it the caster curse? The last time we casted together, it was a PvP finals as well.
Was it really? That's so funny.
It was Max and Firefly.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's so good. EVP all day, baby.
This is what happens when the duck and the chicken collide, you know? It's just Protoss versus Protoss. Oh.
Does it get any better than PvP, though? Is that just the ultimate matchup in StarCraft?
There you go. Confirmed.
Confirmed. And Raynor playing Protoss against Serral in Home Story Cup. I mean, what a beautiful thing it is to see Protoss succeeding.
Yeah, it's Protoss craft nowadays as we're getting ready for those finals. And yeah, how you been as well, Chicken? We kind of like dove right into the cast and dove right into the matches, but yeah, how's your cast been so far? How the matches been? How's your morning been treating you?
Pretty good, you know. Waking up at 12:30 in the morning is a little bit tough sometimes, but it's worth it for the good StarCraft.
How much did you sleep? When did you go to bed?
I slept like 4 to 5 hours, probably. I just like went to sleep right after dinner. It helps when you're just tired all the time in general.
Okay.
So I just like get home from work and I'm like, oh, I need to go to sleep. Super easy.
Okay.
No problem. Let's go right to sleep.
You're like, it's a good thing, Papi. You know, I'm always tired, so I get to sleep easy. Copium.
I mean, it's kind of true. It's kind of true. I'll take a nice nap after this too, because I have to go to work again later today. So yeah, it's good times.
Fair enough. So,
but it's been pretty good, other than BattleNet disconnecting me earlier and lagging the Solar Oliveira game at the most crucial point possible.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Like I've been there before as well. Like it always feels it's so like soul crushing. Like when you're invested into a game and then you see like a lag out and you see it's you and it's like no and yeah.
Well, so I actually didn't lag fully out of the game. I reconnected, but that meant the game just like started right back up.
Yeah.
And Stimerine's pretty good. So Oliveira just like won because Solar had no chance to micro. I honestly, if I was Solar, I would have been like, can we just restart from the start of that fight? Because
yeah,
it's brutal.
It's everything's online, and sometimes latency is a factor, and I've experienced that myself on my end for the CranKy Ducklings. So it feels Australian internet, man, but hopefully everything's stable for the rest of the finals. I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it'll be okay.
I mean, it's been fine in every other game. It was just my connection to BattleNet just decided we're done.
Yeah.
We're done for like a solid 25 seconds. Sorry.
Yeah. Este BattleNet. Shaking my head.
Right? SMH my head.
But outside of that, it's cool to see you here covering ESL Asia again. I guess that means you won't be covering the Americas later on, or?
I will not, unfortunately. I will be at work. Sadly, that's usually why I cover ESL Asia. Is if I have to work on Mondays, which I try not to, but sometimes you got to do it. I'll make myself wake up to cover Asia instead.
I mean it's always good to have more coverage and more English casters here, and I get a co-caster today. I'm so privileged.
You get to co-cast the finals. That's always good.
Yeah, always good. Yeah, I'm always ready for the PvP finals with you, Chicken Man. Always.
Oh yeah, we're ready to go. It would be a nice 35 minute finals here.
Take it away.
All right. I'm going to follow your camera for this one. Spawning in the lower left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the Twisted Minds Protoss in the red Classic.
And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player representing CranKy Z Gaming. It is Hero.
And I mean, what more can you ask for? PvP, the two best Protoss in Korea, going head-to-head.
Yeah. Talking, I guess, about some of my own matches, we had some pretty crazy results as well. Classic, he on his road here, he actually 2-0 Dark. Had his way with him in a pretty crazy fashion as well. I believe it was game 1, he went for a Stargate opener into Glaive Adepts. He just caught Dark open. The Glaives, they just eviscerated the mineral lines and killed Dark. And game 2, I'm sure you're familiar with Classic. He has been very fond of going into fast fleet beacons and going into Tempest Rush, and he just snowballed out of control there as well.
Yeah, I feel like Dark has been struggling a little bit with this matchup, ZVP. So. But it is good to see Classic taking some big games. He also took down Oliveira, right? In the semifinals, so looking pretty strong. He's had a really good year.
Oh yeah, an amazing year here. I always like it's always weird to see that even though we consider Hero to be the stronger player, Classic has been like getting better offline results, like at Gamers 8 and at DreamHack Yongshipping. Like on paper, like Classic has been having deeper runs, which is really interesting. I'm not too sure like how we can like attribute that to Hero, whether it's like these offline nerves or maybe we just have too high expectations, but yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I feel like it's almost like the opposite. Like I think Hero plays very consistently, whether it's online or offline. But I think Classic, I feel like he's the kind of player that those nerves kind of fuel him sometimes. Where when he's offline, when he's on that stage, it feels like he steps it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like he was playing the same game in a EPT Weekly as he would in Gamers 8 or something like that. I feel like he's just playing a stronger match offline. And he's the kind of player too. He's so smart. He will come up with specific builds just for those tournaments, for the big events. And have like a different play style for them. Whereas I feel like a player like Hero, a lot of times he's counting on, his micro and counting on that heavy aggression. Speaking of which,
wait, things are popping up.
There's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Yeah, we did have 2 gate openers all around. Hero, though, he's committing. He's doubling down, going for a 3rd gateway, and a Robo is going to be a 1-base all-in at a Hero. Meanwhile, Classic going for a proxy Stargate. Not an all-in. He's expanding behind this. It is a way to get ahead economically, but he's going to need everything he needs to defend back at home because Hero, he's doubling down.
Well, Hero fooled him. Hero went for a 1-gate opener, put down the Nexus, and then as soon as Classic left, yeah, he canceled the Nexus and put down 2 gates and a Robo.
Yeah.
And now Classic thinks it's going to be 2-base to 2. He's going to have a little advantage. He's about to get very surprised when he sees this Warp Prism and a bunch of Stalkers. That is not a good surprise. The Adepts get locked out by the 87 pylons that are there at the top of the ramp. And this Oracle has a lot of work to do.
Yeah, there's a shield battery. There's a shield battery in the main base. So we're going for maybe a stasis trap instead, but there's nothing to really be done. We force some lost mining time, but Hero, he can focus on his assault back at home. What do we have to defend? We do cancel the natural base. We have shield batteries on the way. 3 of them here on the high ground, but it may just be a numbers game because Hero, he's got so many Stalkers.
Yeah, but he does need to break up soon, though, because Classic will eventually push through those pylons with the Adepts, and Hero, yeah, he's not going to waste any time diving right in on top of this. Gonna try to use that Prism for some fancy micro. The shield batteries are done. And the one is gonna get overcharged. It's gonna get targeted down by Hero. The probes are here to force the lift up, so Hero's gotta get out of there and back up. But there's double Oracle in the main base of Hero now.
Yeah, we can one-shot Workers. Not quite lined up. We do have the overcharge. Only a handful of workers are going down. Hero is going for another big warp in. Overcharge has run out. Bear that in mind, which means Hero doesn't have to worry about that. He can just force his way up the ramp once again.
Yeah, and this Robo is done, but there's no Immortal on the way or anything. It is just a few Stalkers and these probes. Classic, I feel like he missed an opportunity to get more damage done. And again, those shots not lined up. Eventually, though, the Adepts will start killing probes through the shield battery. But Hero's starting to push through. The shield battery's out of juice here. He's going to warp in back at home to defend. Can Hero break through this?
Oh, he's barely
so close.
It is so close. He's down to, what, 6 Stalkers here on the front lines. As you mentioned, back at home, he does defend. He's actually going to be recalling back home. And Hero, actually, he's down in Workers. The Oracles, they come back in. They kill even more probes.
Oh, man. I mean, that was a great choice from Classic. Sacrificing one of those Oracles for it, I think, is well worth it. He's up a few workers. Hero is obviously way ahead in army supply. If Classic can get like an Immortal out, though, this is going to be very difficult for Hero to break up that ramp.
Exactly, and I don't think Hero has the confidence to do so either. He's keeping so many Stalkers back at home. He has 4 Stalkers to harass, and I think that's the goal here for Hero. He's making probes once again. He's going to try to macro out of this, but Classic is in a better position.
Yeah, if he can not take too much damage here. He's trying to build a Phoenix to push this Warp Prism away, but in the meantime, Hero is going to be able to potentially pick off some probes here. The shield battery is really helping, though, and Hero's got to be careful.
Uh-oh, but Twideps, they do make their way into the main base, and we commit to the shade, but the Stalkers are in position.
Oh, man, those Stalkers in a beautiful spot. The Oracle coming in to help out with some DPS now as well. Hero's just got to get out of there, but here's the Phoenix. So now the Prism can't stick around.
Yeah, the Prism is going to be focused down. We do sacrifice some hull damage there, but the Prism does fall. No more reinforcements, no more juggling, and Classic has held, and what does he do from here? Do we try to expand? We have the Immortal finally on the way, and yeah, Classic, he's up in workers and potentially soon to be up in bases, depending on how he wants to take this. I mean, Hero, he's rebuilding that War Prism. He's not expanding. He's doubling down.
I mean, I never expect Hero to not double down. But he's got one advantage right now. He still is up in army supply. That Stargate is not the most helpful thing in the world for Classic. He's trying to build an Oracle, and I don't know if that's where he needs to be spending his money at the moment. He's got to just focus on defending back at home. Yeah,
like Classic, he's forced to cancel. Like, he was intending to expand. He was hoping that maybe Hero was transitioning. He just confirmed the lack of expansion, and now Hero, he still has an opportunity. He has the momentum. He has that Sentry for force fields as well. He could maybe try to catch out that Immortal.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's got to be the goal here. There's no Prism or anything for Classic. He's just trying to get another Immortal out. So he doesn't have a lot of micro potential. He's got to be very careful. But the 2 shield batteries on the high ground make this so difficult for Hero.
They really do. The Adepts, they do not commit to the shade, but a gateway is going to go down. Classic is down to only a single gateway here to warp in, but he does have a second Immortal on the way.
Yeah, 2 Immortals going to be very strong. The Oracle's trying to at least draw some fire. back at home. The Adepts are going to finish the Shade this time, so now Hero's going to try to move forward, but the second Immortal pops and those Stalkers just got to get out of there. A few probes will die, but this is like half of Hero's army in these Adepts, and most of them are going to go down.
They are going down. Classic does end up taking a worker deficit, but with these 2 Immortals, he should be fine here on his 1 base. Hero, he backs the hell off. He's racing back home, and are we still going to double down there? That's is Hero going to try to expand out of this? He does take a worker lead.
I mean, he could.
He could.
I don't think he's gonna, but he could.
He could.
He's got that Immortal on the way out. He still has a Warp Prism. I think he at least needs to get across the map and try to keep Classic back in his base. If he wants to expand, I think he needs to be over there, you know, threatening the force field and forcing Classic to stay back up in his main.
Definitely, as he's going to try and go for Hallucinated Scout. Classic is going for a Warp Prism of his own, so Classic intends to break free to be the aggressor here. Once he does have that Prism, he could try to just go for some harassment, or he can commit. But for now, yeah, both players are still just trying to get a read on each other. That's the thing, like, if one player expands and the other doesn't, like, the defending player is going to be at a disadvantage, so they don't want to, like, trap each other or trap themselves.
Yeah, I kind of love this. This is like old school PvP, right?
Yeah.
The first player who expands dies.
Yeah.
So both players are like playing chicken. We're about to hit 10 minutes in this game, and it's just 1 base to 1. The Oracles, though, oh man.
Finally, one of them goes down, but yeah, 9 worker kills back at home. Hero, he's pushing on forward once again, looking at the units tab. Hero, he is up. He's got more than double the Stalker count of his opponent, but he is down in those Immortals. He has to be careful of the force fields.
Oh, but he's got the Prism this time, so he doesn't mind. He's going to pull back up, and those shield batteries again, just helping Classic so much. It is 2 Immortals to 2. Whoa, another Immortal gets caught the force field, and the Prism was late.
Yeah. Classic asleep at the wheel there, unable to save that Immortal. That's pretty big, actually. Now we have a second, not a third Immortal on the way. Meanwhile, across the map, Stasis trap into the main.
Oh. I mean, there's not a lot of probes to trap, but he does trap quite a few of them.
Yeah, like half the probes were trapped there. Meanwhile, Hero just continuing to threaten these shades here. He already caught one of those Immortals, and he commits. He goes for the sentries.
Yeah, gets the sentries. He's going to try to pick these guys up in the Prism. The Prism actually getting very low. Ooh, Classic diving for it. He gets the Prism. That is a really important pickoff here.
This is so close.
It really is. Look at the army supplies have been oscillating back and forth, but they've never been more than like 5 supply apart.
Yeah.
It's so close.
And this is such a risky maneuver. I don't know if you see, there's something missing. The Immortals, they're gone. The Prism is going across the map.
Oh
Classic.
my God.
He's going for a Hail Mary play, going for a drop here into the main base of his opponents.
Well, because there's no Prism, Hero can't really safely push up into the main base because of the force fields from Classic. So Classic is banking on the fact that Hero won't be able to push up, and he is going to double drop the Immortals. Another massive stasis trap at the main. And Hero now realizes, yeah, he can't push up that ramp.
Yeah, he cannot push up the ramp. The force fields have been thrown down, buying so much time. We force the recall back home.
Yep, and now Classic just gets out of here. There's no blink. These Immortals in this Prism can micro. Classic, careful. Oh my God, he gets out of there. I can't believe it. He needs to just keep going, though.
He needs to.
Hero's going to chase.
He's coming. He's looking to hunt him down as well. The Prism's still
No,
he comes back. No.
Wait, hold on. 2 Immortals beats 4 Stalkers.
Oh my God.
Look at this game of chicken. He's just going to recall the Immortals.
Oh my God.
That's so funny.
Does recall the hell out of there. The Prism still survives. At the same time, the Oracle's going to be coming back in. We could even warp it into the main, but the Stalkers are coming. Oh no.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a dead Prism. The Adepts will finish the warp in. And Classic's expanding. Classic is going for it.
Wow, he's expanding. I mean, he's got Immortals, he's got Sentries. He can totally defend here. He doesn't have shield batteries, bear that in mind, but I don't think Hero has enough to break him.
No, I mean, Hero is down 11 army supply right now. Classic's got it all on the ground. He's got a bunch of force fields. Hero can try. I mean, he's got to try. He's got the Warp Prism for some fancy micro. Can he bust in?
Here we go. The Prism's going into the main base. Yeah, we do catch a couple of those Stalkers. He's going for the production even.
Yeah, going to try to target down these pylons here. Fortunately, there's a lot of backup pylons. Classic going to be able to get up and defend all of that. Everything stays powered. And Hero's just trying to rotate around, trying to catch him out. But the force fields again for Classic, keeping Hero back. And the longer Classic holds on, the better it's going to be for him.
Yeah, exactly. He's up a base, he's up in economy. Force fields are thrown down for both players, but we have juggling here as well with those warp prisms. Heroes is almost down, but he does barely keep it alive.
Yeah, a new War Prism out for Classic, so he can do his fancy micro as well, and he is just dominating this fight right now. The 3 Immortals doing so much. And Classic, he's got the better reinforcements, the faster reinforcements, the better mining, and he's going to be able to hold on to his natural base.
Yeah, he shuts this down completely, forcing Hero back. Does target down that prism. It's going to go down, but what about the main army as so many Stalkers fall?
Yeah, the 2 Adepts getting into the main base, but this is a small consolation for Hero, who is, I mean, his mining is not great back at home. He's trying his best to get some damage done here. Can he kill an Immortal? No, not even that.
Yeah, even the Mortal does make it out as well. The Adept shades out. Meanwhile, back at home, the Oracle comes back in. It's done so much.
Oh my god.
Ah, there's no reaction.
And that's going to close it. Hero, any chance he had is definitely gone.
GG, well played. A very chaotic game number 1. Classic will take it, but that was very back and forth, as you were pointing out. Like, there were moments where Hero was up in supply, Classic was up, damage was being done. Like, it was wild.
It was very, very close. And I think if at any point before Classic took that Nexus, either player had tried to expand, that would have just been game.
Yeah. 100%. And oh boy, in the end, I mean, it all started, like, I love the moves out of Hero. He's so quirky in that way. Like, for him to have his Nexus scattered, for him to cancel, double down with gateways and robos, like, who does that? Like, no one else, not even Max Packs or even Classic would be willing to be that crazy. But Hero, he's different like that. He's built different.
He really is. And that's a classic Hero move right there. To just go for the bamboozle, try to confuse your opponent, and then never ever expand. Once he's committed to not expanding, he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing it. I told you."
Yeah,
Expansion's happening.
Exactly. Hero, he is one to commit hard. He's, look after him, take care of him. As we are going to be getting into game number 2 here, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of side Delta, we have the South Korean Protoss player leading the series 1-0, representing Twisted Minds. It is Classic.
And down 0-1 in this best of 5. In the lower right-hand corner, we have Dragon Kitesy Gaming's Hero.
And we are loading into one of the only maps in the map pool that actually has a ramp coming into the natural.
Yeah, got those low ground gateways, which doesn't mean anything with these players because they're both certainly, it's very possible we see one base play anyways. I feel like Korean PvP, I can never tell if it's going to be macro or it's just going to be a 3-gate robo on both sides. It's hard to know.
It is hard. I think if you just assume that it's going to be aggression and going to be an all-in, like, you're probably going to be right more often than not. And I'm here for it. This is why, like, I love PvP as a mirror matchup. I should specify specifically Korean PvP. Like, that's beautiful.
It's so hard hitting. These guys do not mess around. Yeah, they go for usually very heavy aggression, but Classic is going to go for that base. Hero.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go for a base?
Well,
why is there a zealot on the way, Hero?
Yeah, so a big thing here. So Classic actually cut his second gas geyser, so he went for a much faster Nexus, went for a gate expand before the Cybercore. So very greedy, very economic out of Classic. Hero, because of his additional gases, he can either go for some faster tech here with a Robo or a Stargate, or he can expand. We'll see what Hero does decide to go for.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Part of me's leaning towards some aggression out of Hero, but we'll see. Oh. Classic is keeping an eye on things. There's the Robo. Classic's going to get the nice scout.
Yeah, Classic. He dips into the main base. He does get eyes on the delayed expansion. He also saw the gas mining as well. So Classic, he's aware that he's going to be the defender. And Classic is going to have to do his best Max Pax impression here, assuming that Hero doesn't expand.
Yeah, and I mean, it's never safe to assume with Hero because he drops down the Nexus, right? So, you know, it's assuming really makes an ass out of everybody when it's with Hero. You just never know. You never know, and that's the power of Hero. I do love this little engagement in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
But yeah, now Classic probably thinks he needs to be heavily defending.
Yeah, I mean, he's going for the shield battery on the high ground. We have a Stargate on the way. If he goes for a Void Ray first, that will be a tell that he assumes that he's being all-in. Again, looking at his vision, he hasn't seen much of anything yet. And Hero, he's just transitioning. He may have a later expansion, but he's hoping that Classic does overreact. And there it is. There's that Void Ray.
Yeah, I mean, this is... from what Classic knows, from the information he has, this is absolutely the right call. But Hero, he fooled him. He fooled him. And I was thinking this might be the case because this is like the opposite thing that Hero did last game, right?
Yeah.
And Hero's Nexus is obviously going to be quite a bit later, but he's heading towards, I was going to say a more robust composition because I assumed he was going to Blink, but he's going towards a more fun composition.
I mean, hey, you said it about assuming with Hero, okay?
Right?
we can't do it, Pop. We can't do it. And yeah, he's going to be going into DTs, a wild maneuver here, but I like it because he should be aware that we're prioritizing Stargate production. We have a second Void Ray. There is no Robo. We can, of course, get into Oracles. There is potential for some form of detection, but yeah, like, this is going to be a bit of a tricky move here, and Classic, for the time being, is in the dark.
Yeah, and we'll see if Classic is able to get a scout. Oh my god, what is this probe? What is this probe doing? It's gonna get right in there.
No shot he sees. He sees everything. He does get eyes on the Dark Shrine, and immediately the Robo was already on the way. He should be working on that Observer. He will have detection.
Yeah, and he's gonna move across the map and see if he can't poke and prod at this. The Dark Shrine gets canceled. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Hero playing mind games. But now that Blink is super late.
It is. Blink is very late. You do have Hero threatening a War Prism drop across the map, but Classic is committed. He doesn't bat an eye. He doesn't react at all. He's pushing up into the natural base of Hero.
Yeah, ooh, a nice force field, though. Gonna block some of those Stalkers out. There's no shield battery here for Hero. He was playing with fire, and the Void Rays, how did they both get out of there?
Oh my god. Void Rays Immortals? What are they called here? They refuse to die, as Classic is going to be forced back, but a lot of lost mine time, a lot of damage was dealt. Hero does deflect his opponent, though, and he does have that reinforcing pylon across the map. Hero, he's pushing out.
Yeah, I mean, Blink is on the way. He's got 2 more gateways finishing up. Hero could put some counter pressure on. Again, the Blink is a more robust composition, right? It's a better composition moving forward, especially if Hero wants to try to take a third base and stop Classic from doing the same. Now is going to be the perfect opportunity for that.
Yeah, Hero, he's going to be containing Classic to 2 bases here, working towards Blink, as you were saying, working towards that third base. Classic did sneak out of probe, and I wonder, are we bold enough to go for a ninja base?
I mean, Classic's definitely bold enough to go for a ninja base.
For now, a pylon is being thrown down. Yeah, I'm really curious, as we do have high ground vision.
Oh man, the hallucinated Colossus, what a move. He's gonna be able to blink up into the main, just trim off a prism or a shield battery rather. The Immortal gonna come out though, so these Stalkers gotta leave. Oh. Yeah, loses a couple of those.
Yeah, delayed blink there. Stalkers are going down. Classic does have that probe in position. Meanwhile, Hero rotates towards that natural base. He's gonna be able to pick up that gateway. At the same time, Classic, the Void Rays, they go into the main.
Yeah, they're gonna do some harassment here, maybe pull Hero back. Hero trying to kill the Immortal. He gets it through the overcharged shield battery. And there it is, the ninja base from Classic. God, you'll love to see it. This is why we love Korean PvP.
It's beautiful. As we catch the Void Rays, they both go down. Classic was a bold move to go for the harassment. He gets punished for it. But thankfully, he isn't contained to 2 bases. Hero, he's unaware of the ninja, but he's still up in economy and still up with a much faster third.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a better position for Hero. Classic's trying to pull it back in a way that Hero might not be expecting. I do love the Adepts here. The Void Rays going down is a bit sad, but I think they'd kind of done their job already. Not the end of the world for Classic. And he's just going to try to get some damage done here, but Hero is very much in position with these Stalkers.
Yeah, he's here at the natural, has force fields available if he ever did need them. Adepts will not commit to the shade, but Classic is pushing out. Again, he needs to, I feel like he needs to try to threaten this third. Looking at his vision, Classic, he hasn't seen the third base yet, but he should be aware that it has been taken, and at least he's getting away with this ninja as, yeah, he's moving out, even with the War Prism to reinforce.
Yeah, this is really nice for Classic. I don't think Hero's going to be... I think if Hero sees this attack, he's going to expect it to be all in. But Classic does not need to be all in. He can just kind of poke and prod. Again, he's got that third. He's recalled probes to it. He's going to have decent mining up back at home. So Hero might try to over-defend here. This might give Classic an opportunity to get into a decent macro position.
Yeah, exactly. Like Classic, he's not looking to commit. He's trying to distract, trying to keep the attention of Hero here at the third base as he goes for the Adept Harass in towards the natural instead. Hero not quite in position as he once was, but there are still Stalkers, and he does deny the shade.
Yeah, good defense from Hero. Hasn't taken any damage. Classic would love to find something to pick off here. A couple of probes, Stalker or two, and it just hasn't happened.
Yeah, it hasn't happened yet. Hallucination is going to be coming in, looking at the vision of Hero. He is checking the third bases. He's trying to figure out, are you all-inning? Like, what exactly is going on? He still has not seen the third.
No, I think he might figure it out soon, but I feel like we've all been in that game where there's a ninja base and you just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Right? It can so easily not cross your mind that your opponent has a hidden base somewhere, especially since Classic does look like he's all-inning.
Yeah.
He's really posturing so far forward. He just doesn't need to.
Yeah, he's like...
He could, though. He could go for it.
He's selling a story right now. Like, he's puffing up his chest. He's going to be threatening that natural. Good force fields here at the third base. But again, he isn't committing. Charge is soon to kick in, though, and Classic can maybe try to reinforce. And there we go. Zealots are on the way. This army becoming a little bit better, well-rounded.
Yeah, charge done for both players, but we don't see any Zealots warped in for Hero just yet. Just focusing on defending with the Stalkers and the Immortals. He's going to throw down a new Dark Shrine.
Dark Shrine is on the way. Hero going to try and poke on forward here. Almost gets caught out. Good force fields at a Classic. Nice blinks here from Hero. Doesn't lose anything yet, as both armies are still just kind of be threatening each other, threatening a dive.
Yeah, Hero's finally feeling like he's got enough to push out here. Classic is ahead a little bit of army supply. Oh, this is a weird position for Classic to be fighting from, and Hero's going to take that opportunity to start off the fight really nicely. Some force fields going down, a lot of bottlenecks here for these Zealots to try to get through.
And they just can't break through. The force fields, they were just too good. Finally, they do manage to get on top of the army. They do force back some of those Immortals as well. Good concave here at a Classic. He tries to dive on top of the Prism. He gets it.
Oh, man, that is a huge grab because now the Immortals can't really get out of here from the Blink Stalkers. They're going to try to run away. One of them going to go down, though, before it gets back to the shield battery. And Classic is pushing forward, but the army supply is flipped a little bit. Hero warps in some more units. Classic needs to be very careful not to overcommit.
Yeah, it was so huge that Classic lost his first Immortal so quickly in that fight. Classic is forced back, but he's expanding. He's taking a fourth base behind this. Technically soon to be up in bases, but Hero, he did preserve his own Immortals. His army is that much more threatening.
Yeah, and he's warping in some DTs now. He might be able to get some cheeky damage done on the other side of the map. He still doesn't necessarily know that there's a hidden base. So Hero might think he's in a different kind of position than he is. This is a very even game right now.
Yeah, exactly. As the DCs are waddling in and they're looking to deny this fourth. As you mentioned, Hero thinks it's a third, and with that, he may think he's in a better position than he really is. He's checking the triangular third, sorry, the linear third base location as well. He sees no extra base.
Yeah, he's going to spot no extra base. The DTs get blocked out. It looks like Classic saw the shimmers. And so Classic's going to be able to defend, but Hero.
Oh, he's checking. He sees.
The Star Sense, and he is going to find this base. We're going to see a recall on at least a few of these probes, but Classic, he got away with this for such a long time. And now we'll finally go down.
Yeah, and now Classic is in a brutal position. He did save some workers. He has a backup third base, but now Hero is working on a fourth. The Dark Shrine, of course, kicking in as well. Hero rotating back around. Classic going for his own Dark Shrine to try to make some magic happen with those DTs, but yeah, I would say that Hero does have an edge, especially after killing and fighting that base.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Classic's not too far behind. That is a very fresh third base now, right? So he's not mining out at it at all. So he'll be able to send all of his probes over there. He's got a Templar Archive, so his Archons are a little bit easier to make than the DT Archons. A little bit cheaper overall, but they kind of mesh better with the army. So Classic should be able to keep that army supply up pretty similar to Heroes. Hero does have a +1. Classic's behind a full upgrade right now.
Yeah, the upgrades are going to be quite impactful, especially when it comes to Stalker versus Stalker. What's interesting is the army compositions. Classic, he's down in Stalkers, but he's slightly ahead in Archons, but only by 1. He's so heavily reliant on these Zealots, he may even try to catch some of these Stalkers. Oh, as he does notice both players, they do back off.
It's a dicey situation. The Stalkers can, of course, pick off those Zealots, but if there's too many Zealots, the Stalkers do really struggle. Here come the DTs, but Hero, he's pretty ready for this. Maybe? Oh, a cannon gets taken down, but the observers are there.
Cannons are going down.
10 probes. This is actually pretty huge damage.
And we're pulling
coming out from Classic.
He's being pulled out of position. The main army is going to be pushing on forward, and we could try to go straight for the third, or we could try to collapse on the army itself.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try to get on this army. Grabs the Prism. Not the biggest deal right now for Hero. His Stalkers, though, caught very far to the left from the rest of his army. This is such an awkward engagement. I think Hero's still doing okay with it right now as his Zealots and Archons and Immortals get into the fight. Classic's really struggling to handle this side of the army. And now the Stalkers are getting on top of the Immortals. And I think Hero's just going to take this fight. He's going to take the game.
GG, well played. That was a really awkward fight out of Hero. I don't fault Classic for going in and diving in like that, but yeah, the fight did very quickly swing in favor of Hero as he won on both fronts. The DT Harass was doing amazingly, and but unfortunately just wasn't the opportunity that Classic was maybe hoping for there.
Yeah, I think it was a good call to try to get in on that while the army was out of position. But it turned out Hero wasn't that far out of position. His Stalkers were able to blink back and buy some time. The rest of the army could come in, and then he ended up with kind of a surround on top of Classic. And again, I think that upgrade lead, I think it was +2 to +1 during that fight for Hero, just gave him enough of an edge to take it down.
There you go, and we are now tied up. We are tied up 1-1. We're looking to find out who takes a lead in this series. As a reminder, it's still a best of 5, so plenty more games ahead of us, which is a good thing. You know, we want a whole 5 games here. We want to sink our teeth into Classic and Hero.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I want more one base versus one base play. Is what I really want.
Things got a little bit shaky that last game as we were getting up to 3 base saturation, which was concerning. You know, things were almost looking like a normal game, but thankfully we avoided that.
Yeah, things got a little bit wild. We had, you know, ninja bases and the like. That's what you want to see from Korean PvP. And now hopping into game 3 on Oceanborn, we have our red Protoss in the upper left-hand corner. It is a Classic.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, going for the low ground gateway, we have the South Korean Protoss representing CranKy Gaming. It is Hero.
Yeah, going for the Max Packs opener. You love to see it. That tells me Hero's definitely going to one base.
A very high chance here. As I think I was talking to you last time we casted how it does feel like Hero. I pointed out Hero Nightmare. They have been more prone to go for these kind of gate expands. As you mentioned, doesn't always lead into a macro opener, but it can, and it's really cool to see some of the Korean Protoss players kind of adopt the Max Packs opener. Yeah,
I mean, it is funny. Like the Max Packs opener, initially, it was just him. Years ago, and then it felt like everybody started adopting it and going for it all the time. Oh my god, that probe died. Damn. Classic winning the mind games right now.
The mental victory here in favor of Classic. He's sending out his probe, by the way. Now that there's no scouting information, Classic, he can commit, and there we go. The proxy pylon is thrown down.
Yeah, and Classic saw the low ground gate, so he's expecting the Nexus, and Hero is going to oblige him. Can Hero do his best Max Packs impression and hold against literally anything all the time?
Exactly. That's going to be the question. Your Cyber Cores are about to finish up. Then we can see our techs of choices here. Hero should be going for a Stargate, but he went for a gate expand. He only has 1 Gas Geyser. Doesn't really have a lot to work with here. And Classic, are we going to commit? Show us the robo. Oh, show us the gateway even.
Oh, okay. Proxy gate. All right. Maybe a robo and a gate at that pylon.
Yeah, we can.
Yep, there it is.
So one base all in at a classic, and Hero is none the wiser. He's fanning out his units. He's looking for proxies on the right and left hand side. He's not checking the center of the map though, which is where the proxy is.
I love when the proxy's in the most obvious spot, and that's the one spot the player doesn't check. It's so like 800 IQ.
Oh yeah. The big brain plays here out of Classic, and Hero is going to be in a bit of trouble as a result. We mentioned before that because he went for a single gas geyser, there's a second gateway, there's such a delayed Stargate here, which means unlike Max Packs, there's no Void Ray. There's no Void Ray to defend.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's such a crucial part. He's going to spot this now. Can he take this pylon down? Because Stalker's on the way for Classic. I think he needs to send another probe out here just to make sure, because that pylon could get dived on by Hero, but it looks like he's not going to just yet. Going to try to trade with these Stalkers a little bit. That's going to give time for this Immortal to potentially get out.
Yeah, I mean, Hero, he does trade out better. He does snipe one of those Stalkers already, but the second probe, well, the probe has a right, throwing down the second pylon to keep everything powered, and here come the reinforcements, and Hero, he has to back off.
Yeah, and this is becoming a real problem for Hero right now. His second gate's about to finish. He's got a couple more on the way, but they're not here just yet. There's only one pylon and one shield battery on the low ground. He needs to hold against this Immortal with a Prism on the way.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I'll be very impressed if Hero can somehow survive here. Like, no Robo, no Stargate, no Void Rays, no Immortals. Like, Hero is going to defend with purely vanilla Stalkers. Does have a couple of pylons across the map just to make sure and get eyes on any kind of transition. But Classic is going for the Adept Shade towards the natural base, towards the mineral lines even.
Yeah, and there is nothing up here to stop this. The Stalkers have to try to come all the way back in to deal with this. A few Adepts are getting worked in to help defend it, because now the Stalkers need to go back down to the low ground to deal with this pressure, as that Cybercore is in some trouble.
Yeah, but that's a lot of Stalkers here for Hero. He can actually force his back. He can maybe try to take a head-on fight here.
Oh, the second Immortal is not out yet. Hero doesn't have a lot of micro potential, and the Prism here for Classic is going to be very good. That Immortal is going to be hard to kill, I think, for Hero.
It's going to live up to its name, and now we have a second Immortal on the way. Hero going for a proxy gateway across the map even.
God.
Oh, he's crazy.
He really is. He really is. He's warping in over there, trying to get some harassment damage done while he holds on with the overcharged shield battery. The Adepts out front here for Hero, buying him some time. But he's just trying to hold on so he can get damage done on the other side of the map. Oh, beautiful force field.
Yeah.
Trapping some of those Stalkers out front.
Yeah, we catch 3 of those Stalkers at the same time. Adepts, they are breaking in, by the way. They do depower the gateways. Ooh. We are busting into the main.
I mean, this is some good damage for Hero, but he just doesn't have enough. Look at that army supply. It is doubled for Classic. And he's just going to be able to micro so much over on this side of the map. Even if he loses all of his probes, his army is just so much better.
Yeah, the Adepts even came back home for Hero as well. They're going to try to hold on, but it looks like the natural base has been broken. The Immortals, they bust in towards the main base. We do have 4 gateways, but again, barely anything to defend. Cybercore went down. We can only warp in Zealots.
Oh, that's so brutal. The probes try to come off the line, but the force field stops them. One Immortal on the low ground is going to kill these 2 Stalkers, and there's just nothing left here for Hero.
Yeah, there's 1 Adept, 0 Adepts, only pros. We have the overshot to keep 1 Stalker alive, but it's not going to be enough, and it looks like Classic is going to be taking a lead in this series. Only workers remain. Hero across the map going for a warping of Zealots. Doing whatever you can.
He's trying his best. There's a wall. Oh, the Zealot's worst enemy.
GG gets called, and Classic takes a 2-1 lead.
Yes, he does. What a game. I mean, Hero not scouting that Robo quickly was really the crux of that. He was trying to defend on just, like you said, vanilla Stalkers, right? No upgrades, no tech. It was 4 gateways. That's it. And it's just basically impossible.
Yeah, and on top of that, right, the opener of Hero was just so greedy. It wasn't just a gate expand, as we pointed out. Even MaxPax rarely goes for gate expands. He usually goes for, especially if he thinks he's up against aggression, he goes for a Stargate first, then the expansion with additional gases. Hero was cutting corners. He was going for one of the greediest openers you could go for. That's why he could only defend with Stalkers, because he had so limited gas to work with initially, and yeah, he was punished for his greed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Hero was hoping.
Mm.
I mean, you take that chance, right?
Yeah.
You hope your opponent tries to go for a quicker expansion, or maybe doesn't scout what you're doing, or maybe hoping that Classic would think it was another, like game one, like it was another bamboozle, and it wasn't really an expansion. But it didn't work out. He over bamboozled, and it turns out sometimes the answer is just proxying a gateway and a robo, like we saw in that game from our red Protoss player, now spawning in the upper right-hand corner of Solaris. It is Twisted Minds Classic.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have our South Korean Protoss up against the wall. He needs to win this game to force the ace match. Representing Dragon Kai Gaming, it is Hero.
Yep, winning 2 PvPs in a row. It's a hard thing to do. Oh, look at those probes. Kissing in the middle of the map.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Again, no hard feelings, I'm sure, between these players. And yeah, it's just been so chaotic so far. As you mentioned before, sometimes in PvP, you expand, you die. And Hero just, rolling the dice there, as you were saying, just taking a big risk, taking a game. Oh no, once again!
Oh my god.
Just like the last game!
Aye.
Is that it? Is it over? Do we just
It's
crown
over.
Classic the champion? Is that?
Yeah. Honestly, we could probably just leave this game now.
Really? Do you think that was what won Classic the last game? Actually, killing the first probe on Oceanborn, like that's.
It's basically. It gives you like a 90% win chance. It's a huge advantage.
Mm-hmm.
It's like getting 2 adepts in.
Yeah.
It's basically that level of. Coming back is so hard. But in a very real sense, because he killed that probe in the last game, Classic was able to do whatever he wanted.
100%.
Hero all of a sudden had no scouting in his main, and Hero was sending units all over the place, but it put Hero in this awkward position where he was being super greedy and had no idea what his opponent was doing. Now in this game, he's not being super greedy. This is a very standard opening for Hero. So it doesn't matter quite as much, but it is still going to be important. Hero does not have any scouting. He doesn't know that, Classic's third pylon is on the low ground and it looks like he's going to expand.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't know about the third pylon. He didn't even see the second pylon either. That could be a proxy for all he knows. So, again, just really massive that first probe did go down. As we are seeing, we do have a double adept opener. The probe of Classic did confirm that, and he himself is going double adept as well. Hero is doubling down, by the way. He's making a third and fourth adept behind this.
Ooh, maybe a little cheeky 8 adept opening?
Yeah, possibility. Yeah, is there as Hero's getting across the map. He gets into the main.
Oh no!
Up.
Oh man! Wait, both players got into the main.
Up.
What is happening? But Hero's third and fourth adept are going to be there to help defend, whereas this is 2 sentries. Which is not particularly ideal. Hero leaves, which I'm a little surprised by because I feel like he could have stuck around.
Yeah,
a little bit longer.
He's going back in if he wants to. He could try to go for the sentries as well. The world is his oyster. He goes for the probes, gets another worker, is looking to get another as well, forcing out a force field. This also means that because we just saw 2 force fields, no hallucination scout here for Classic.
Yeah, and he gets 1 more probe, putting Classic down 4 workers right now, and Hero's going to warp in 2 more adepts, drop a proxy gate. Oh man, he's going for it.
He is. Again, nothing but adepts on the map here for Hero, sending everything across the map. Once again, the wall just never is going to be a wall here. Hero just going to be consolidating his army, bringing everything together before committing. Behind this, he's not all in. He's expanding. He is taking his natural base, but he has so much potential for damage.
Yeah, and right now, Classic can't send probes down to the low ground. The 4 adepts finish the shade and kill both of the sentries. 2 more adepts showing up to try to get more probe damage. Hero is sacrificing all of his army right now to just kill as many probes with Classic as he possibly can. And Classic, what can he do on the other side of the map? He doesn't have a robo. He's on 2 gates. There's not a lot of aggression possible here from Classic. And Hero is just way ahead.
Yeah, Hero, he's just having his way with Classic right now, has a massive economic lead, and Classic should basically be forced all in at this point. His Stalkers are moving out. In a head-to-head fight, Classic can win this, but as I say that, Hero, he goes for a big warping of Stalkers, and we can just go for the base trade. We can just send it, and Classic, what's he going to do? Does he commit?
I think he has to recall, right? He can't just... this is like 5 Stalkers. Hero can... I mean, Hero can kind of do whatever he wants, but I think, yeah, Hero's going to go for the recall. I assume Classic will now recall. Or, yeah, Classic's just going to tap out. That's actually the right answer.
Yeah. That's the play to make in that situation. GG gets called. Hero pulling Classic apart with the massive depths. Both players kind of fumbling the ball a little bit when it came to walling off, but again, because Classic went for follow-up sentries, that is just not ideal to defend against anything, really, and the sentries were focused down, and Hero snowballed out of control.
Yeah, I think that was almost an intentional lack of a wall from Hero.
Yeah.
You know, they both scouted the Adepts in the middle of the map, but Hero had those follow-up 2 Adepts. He did lose a couple of probes, but because he got in, got way more damage done. It just, yeah, snowballed out of control, like you said. With that proxy gate, too. It's so funny. Hero just, like, cavalierly proxying gateways.
Yeah. I mean, hey, he's so suave. He's oh
he
god,
is.
it's always so like inspiring to watch, and then you try it yourself, and it does not have anywhere near as much success as as what Hero does it. But
No.
we have the game 5. We have an ace match. We got what we want.
We did, as we deserve. This ace match. We're on hard lead now for game number 5. We'll see who can finish off this PvP. See if we get any nexuses in this game. Spawning in the upper left-hand corner, we have Twisted Minds Classic.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, going for the gate expand setup once again. We have the South Korean Protoss player representing Dragon KZ Gaming. It is Hero.
Yeah, going for that low ground gate. We'll see if he goes for a single gas again this time, taking that chance.
Yeah, we'll see if he's going to be greedy or if he commits. Probes are being sent out from both players here. As you also mentioned, there's also the possibility if Hero tries to double down and go for a one base all in himself. Like, these players, they can be so unpredictable.
That's what makes it so exciting, but also such a coin flip, right? for every single Protoss playing PvP, except for Max Packs. It's such a coin flip. You're like, okay, I'm going one base, but your opponent, they could be going one base too. They could be expanding. They could be taking a hidden. You kind of can't know 100%. And it's such a hard thing. We do see a double gas from Hero this time, though, so
yeah,
he's at least playing a little bit safer.
Exactly. So he's not rushing into that Giga Fast natural that we saw previously where Hero was punished on Oceanborn. So with the second gas geyser, this should be leading into a Stargate before Nexus. If Classic does kind of leave the natural base open, then Hero could still try to expand, so he's got some options available, but tech should be on the horizon for him as he does go for the Nexus.
Yep, taking that Nexus first, using that opportunity, the probe not being there to grab that base. And yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's the Stargate. Hero, he's like, yeah, I guess Max Pax does this for a reason.
True. So now he's going to have Void Rays available. Meanwhile, Classic throws down the Proxy Gateway. It's looking like potentially a one-base all-in. This wouldn't be a bad position for a Proxy Stargate to try to get some economic damage done. So Classic, he likewise has some options as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of expect this to be a Gateway Robo situation again. Oh, Classic.
Yeah. We'll
Maybe
see. He's waiting for his gas, and there it is. It is going to be the Gateway.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be a Stargate when he was like waiting for money, but
yeah.
Nope. Right to the Gateway. I think the thing about a Stargate here is it's a little more vulnerable. Whereas if you're attacking with the Gateway and the Robo, you don't have to worry about defending that proxy as much.
Exactly.
But Hero is checking around for it. He's looking for something.
He is. He's checking his linear third. He's going to be going towards the triangular third momentarily as well. He's going Oracle first, so he's going to be getting across the map. There should be hopefully a Void Ray after this, but this is a risk here from Hero.
Yeah, but it can be a really nice risk if you're able to get some damage done on the other side of the map, stasis traps, or even just trying to chew through that Oracle energy. And he's going to get the scout on this.
There we go. Hero, he does see the Gateway and the Robo. He's fully aware of the all-in. Void Ray being chronoed out as we speak. But Classic, he's knocking down that front door. Shield battery is done, though. We will soon have an overcharge. And so far, Hero, he's holding. He's trying to at least. Up.
Yeah, he's going to turn on that overcharge. He was trying to hold on to it, I think. But Got to use it to keep that Stalker alive. Kills a Stalker, and now he's forcing 2 Stalkers back at home for Classic. And I mean, that's a really nice set of units. Whoa, Hero.
Yeah, a big overextension, getting caught out of the map here. One Stalker goes down. Void Ray has arrived, but Hero, he's going to be careful.
Yeah, he's got to be super careful. He's going to lose this Void Ray. Oh my god, it doesn't pull back far enough. He was trying to build a Phoenix too to deal with the Warp Prism that's coming out, but he desperately needs that Void Ray.
Yeah, I saw the Phoenix as well. A bold move out of Hero. He's being punished for it at the same time. Oracle comes in, but we have the overcharge. The Oracle, it does nothing. No damage is being done, and now Classic can focus on his assault, and he's breaking into the natural. He's pushing through.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think Hero can stop this. This pylon's going to go down. There's no backup pylon at all. Artosis.
Ah, no.
Oh, God.
The Artosis pylon. GG gets called.
Classic takes the 3-2 victory, busting through. Classic's like, you're trying to be Max Packs, but I know a secret. You're not Max Packs. Only Max Packs is allowed to do that. He's the only Protoss.
Mate, you think I don't know who you are?
Yeah, right.
Oh my god, and yeah, there was a lot coming into that. There was the overextension when Hero did lose a Stalker almost for free when he pushed out. Also, the Oracle did confirm the all-in, but didn't do any damage across the map. I guess did keep a little bit of supply pinned back at home for a little bit, but clearly the Oracle wasn't fully worth it there. And it was a little bit greedy of Hero to start off that Phoenix as well, the Phoenix instead of the Void Ray, so there was like some lost production time there. There was just so much coming into that, and yeah, Hero just wasn't able to hold, able to defend, able to pull the Max Packs.
Yep. I mean, he had all the tools available to him. I think he really had the chance, but losing a couple Stalkers he didn't need to, losing the Void Ray.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of a missed opportunity there for Hero. And I think we're going to see more one base from him in the future.
I wouldn't be surprised. As congratulations to Classic here. He popped off tonight. He took down Dark, Oliveira, and Hero. One of each race. Some big names in each race as well. So very nicely done. Classic looking very much so in form leading into DreamHack Atlanta.
Yeah. Excited to see that. We're only a couple weeks away. Gonna be good.
It's gonna be amazing, and again, Classic is one to keep an eye on. I mean, all these players really, right? It's like, let's not gloss over the fact that Hero did take Classic to the ace match, and they are the 2 best Protoss in Korea. So, a back and forth series is kind of what we expect to see here, and it did not disappoint. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
No, it was pretty much exactly what I expected.
Yeah.
Very fun. It's a pleasure to cast another PvP finals with you.
And I'm sure the second of many, actually. I'm sure we'll have plenty more best of 5 PvPs in our future, I'm sure.
I hope so. You know, honestly, if we cast Europe together ever,
oh my god,
very high chance of PvPs happening there.
True. Aye. But yeah, it was really great casting with you once again, Chicken Man. It was a lot of good fun. For the first time ESL Asia, and yeah, I hope it made your morning that much better. Waking up to what we just saw here, it was great. It's beautiful.
It certainly did. You know, it's like that old Folgers commercial. The best part of waking up is casting PvP with light. Pretty sure that's how that jingle goes.
I'll have to take your word for it because I have no idea what you're talking about. That's the
Perfect.
Yeah, that commercial. True.
Excellent American reference for me to make. So that's just how it goes.
Yeah, I believe it. But yeah. Again, I hope you had a good time. I guess you're gonna be going back to bed after this. Are you gonna be getting some rest, or?
Yes, that is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back to sleep. Somehow, in the near future here, and go to work later. So. Yeah, thank you for casting with me. Appreciate you having me on. Always a pleasure to hang out with the Ducklings.
One day we'll be able to cast and we'll be able to see your face on our stream as well.
One day when I figure out how to send my camera to both Discord and OBS.
We need to talk.
Figure it out.
We need to. We'll figure it out. But yeah, it's great to cast with you again. I look forward to your next broadcast, which I assume is going to be KSL, unless you have something else coming up.
You assume correctly. KSL is my next planned broadcast. That'll be on Friday. I hope I'll see you there.
Oh yeah, always, Papi, always. See you there on Friday. Likewise, I think it's next week is DreamHack Atlanta, and if you're maybe listening, if you're watching right now, try to find Chicken Man at DreamHack Atlanta, because he's going to be there, and so many people, so many of the NA community is going to be coming together for DreamHack Atlanta for a StarCraft celebration.
I'm very excited for it. Yes, please come say hello if you're in Atlanta. Even if you're not at DreamHack, if you're just in the city, just come say hello.
There you go. Have you been to a DreamHack Atlanta before? Were you there last year?
Yeah, I went last year.
Oh.
It was super fun. It was so much fun.
Nice.
I'm sad we can't get you there.
I know. Yeah. It's just
maybe next year for Dallas,
Okay.
We'll get you on that 24 hours of travel. It's closer. Maybe it'll only be like 22 hours.
That's worth it. That's that's fine. That's beautiful.
Each way.
It's nothing. Yeah.
No problem.
Oh god. Maybe one day. I'll be able to travel to the Americas. I would love to. There's a lot of great people that do go there. I'm jealous. I hope you have a great time. And make plenty of content as well while you're there. Make some TikToks with Nish. It's gonna be beautiful.
I will do my best. I'm really bad at making content, to be honest with you. Unless it's casting StarCraft. That's literally it. So I'll try to take lots of pictures though.
There you go. Gib selfie. Outside of that, you can follow myself. I'm going to be live in, I guess, 12 hours, just over 12 hours time or so, with ESL Open Cup Americas. I will be casting Americas over in the CranKy Ducklings. I'll do my best to cast it alone. I won't have a chicken to keep me sane.
No, I'm sorry.
Next time.
Maybe next time. Yeah. Well, not next week. Maybe in like 2 weeks.
What's happening next week? What's going on?
I have to work on Monday again.
God damn it. Do they not understand that you're casting StarCraft? Do they not?
They do not. But also, I have to work Monday so that I can take the weekend off for DreamHack.
Yeah, that makes sense.
R.I.P.
Okay. Fine. You're getting away with it this time.
I know. I don't like it. I considered calling out of work today, but...
Otherwise, yeah, thank you as well, Chicken Man, for having me on. I always do appreciate it.
Always a pleasure. And it's good to co-cast with somebody who's, like a good StarCraft caster. It's really nice.
Who do you usually cast with? I don't.
We don't need to get into that. I'm just.
Oh my god.
It's not negative about anybody else. I'm just saying it's really nice.
Oh no.
Have a good StarCraft commentator.
How do you cast usually? What are you talking about? What are you saying? I'm confused. What happens?
Listen, I'm just saying.
Can you get?
There's nothing implied here about anybody else.
Can you give me a bit of a teaser? Like what usually happens when you co-cast with someone? What are you talking about?
Well, all right. It's usually either Dave tested drunk,
okay,
or I mean, like I cast with Apoptosis.
Oh, okay. Oh, true.
Like a week and a half ago, which was nice, but he hasn't done a lot of StarCraft lately. So, it's a different casting experience than co-casting with somebody who does this all the time.
Yeah. I can vibe with that. I can vibe. I've had some experiences casting with people that don't really know StarCraft. But it can be fun, especially if you can like find something else to like gel over. And I'm sure you had a great time with Apop. Like I didn't even get to talk about it, but it was really cool to see you drag Apop back in. I know he's kind of been
yeah. I pulled him back in. I made him change his streaming category to StarCraft. So after like 8 months of not doing that,
yeah,
so I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, I know that he's been like StarCraft free for a while, and you've dragged him back into the trenches, and he's relapsing on StarCraft, which I'm sure is a good thing.
He's just waiting for Stormgate right now. He's in Stormgate preparation mode. So I convinced him that he needed to stay in the RTS frame of mind, though. So he needed to still do some StarCraft.
Hey, he lied to him.
I did.
You deceived him.
I did.
You got it. Yeah, I approved.
But yeah, it worked. So we count it.
Yeah, it was really great to hear. Really great to hear. I've yet to, on that note, I've yet to experience any kind of casting with Drunk Dave. I'm afraid he's actually reached out to me before. He's been like, "Yo, when we casting?" I'm like, I don't know if I I don't know if I can handle a Drunk Dave, but I'm sure it's a great time nonetheless in a very different way.
You just have to be very prepared for a very casual broadcast.
Very nice.
You know, so it's a different experience. I've cast with both Drunk Dave and Sober Dave.
Oh,
and it might as well be two different casters.
Who do you like more?
That's a hard thing to say, you know.
Who do you prefer, the Sober
It
Dave?
depends. You know, I will say if I was casting some like flat Diamond League matches, Drunk Dave, highly preferable. That'd be way more fun.
Okay.
But if I'm casting, you know, top players, I think I'd rather Sober Dave.
Okay. His alter ego, Sober Dave. I like to think that Drunk Dave is his like baseline. That's what he. Oh god.
Yeah. Sober Dave is the. He's like the. Oh man, there's a word I'm trying to go for, and I completely forgot what I was. Doesn't matter. Alter ego.
Yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah.
We got there.
It's his Batman. True.
Exactly.
Well, with much love today. By the way, much love. You know, salt of the earth. We have a lot of love.
All said with love.
Exactly. But yeah, I guess with that, I'll bid you adieu. Get some rest. You know, wish you the best at work, and look forward to the casting on KSL and DreamHack next week, of course. DreamHack. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Have fun with ESL Americas and whatever else you're casting this week. I'm sure you have a laundry list of things to cover.
Oh yeah. Thank you. Do appreciate it. I'll see you next time.
All right.
And with that, I don't think I've done I have to pay out predictions. Okay. But yeah, I hope everyone. Oh, sorry. I have to bring my camera back. Bring me back, Poppy. Bring me back. I'm getting there. Hold on. Where am I? Video mode. Beautiful. I'm back. Okay. But again, I tried. I've usually always had a co-caster here in the CranKy Ducklings, whether it's Yakuzaku or Asher Bro. Recently, Chicken Man has offered to co-cast every now and then, so do try to bring him on wherever I can. I do feel like I do best whenever I have a co-caster, so always willing to cast with someone else if the opportunity does present itself. So I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you had a good time. Otherwise, thank you so much everyone for tuning in. That wraps up ESL Open Cup Asia for now. It is a weekly tournament, so if you want some more ESL Asia action, we got you covered next week in ESL Open Cup Asia 205. As I mentioned before, our next broadcast is in 12 hours, ESL Open Cup Americas, and we won't be covering Europe. Gonna be going to sleep. Gonna be getting some rest, and won't be covering Europe. But I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. We're gonna be giving another soccer streamer a raid. Not too sure who, but give them a chance, give them some love, give them some support, and I'll see you guys in 12 hours for Americas. Thanks for watching. Hasta luego. Bye. Hasta luego.